Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair.
Remember that. Hello, and welcome in to the show, everybody. Boy, do we have a good one for you. The NBA draft happens last night. 3 different Wolverines end up being lottery picks, where Ben and Kyle were right. Yeah, it was a big day. And the Pistons, that's where we're going to start things out. They end up taking 6'1" guard Ebuka Okorie out of Stanford. Led the ACC in scoring as a freshman, 23 points a game. That was 6th in the nation, 3rd amongst freshmen in the nation. It is, look, we'll jump into what type of player he is, who he could turn into. Kyle, he gets drafted. He walks up onto the stage. He shakes hands with the commissioner. And Adam Silver's just straight up taller than this guy. That's not to say he can't be a good NBA player, but typically I like it more when your draft pick goes up and is taller than the NBA commissioner. It's somewhat problematic that he went up there and, again, listed at 6'1" and 3/4. It's just like, this is basketball at the end of the day. Let's not get it twisted. Size matters. You have to be able to bring some size. You have to be a pretty darn special player on offense to be able to last if you're going to be a less than 6'2" player. And obviously we just had Brunson, but that's what I'm talking about. You have to be that level of special to last. The most of the comps I've seen from him, it's Tyrese Maxey. He could be Kemba Walker. Okay, you're talking about some of the best 6'1" guards we've ever seen. You're talking about the best little guys we've seen. I don't think he's going to be quite Kyrie Irving. That was a first overall pick. I've seen that one get thrown around. But maybe he can be Kemba Walker. Look, in theory, he's exactly what the Pistons need. He's what the Pistons need. A guy who can come in off the bench and just go get buckets, because that's what Ebuka Okorie did in college. He went and scored buckets. 7 free throw attempts per game, 34% from behind the arc. But look, this is just the reality of the situation. It's going to be very hard until I see it happen on an NBA court to look past the 6'1" and 3/4 size. That is astonishingly small, especially considering they already have a small guard on their team in Danis Jenkins. They are reportedly targeting guys like Norm Powell in free agency, who I'm all down to sign, but to have 3 of those guys in a rotation doesn't make a whole lot of basketball sense. And I'm not necessarily stating, well, you shouldn't have drafted someone because Danis Jenkins has a role carved out for him. That's not really where I'm coming at either. But it's odd to have the same archetype of player, that archetype specifically, twice on a roster for guys that you're likely relying on, both of which to provide some scoring off the bench next season for the Pistons. My initial reaction last night was like, this is like a C- pick. I don't know if I love this. Look at the trend in the NBA. You want to get big physical guards who can play the 2 and the 1. These combo guys, these 6-foot guys don't last very often. And the more and more I watched the tape, the more I was like, okay, this guy can score at the end of the day. He can go get buckets. Not a big drawing the defense, kick it out type of player, finding the open man. But the Pistons need someone to go score. And he can provide that. But in terms of fit with the roster, I just, look, it's just really hard to see past that 6'1" size, I think is what this ultimately comes down to. And I don't think I'm overthinking this, to be quite honest, Kyle. This is the NBA where size matters more than it ever has. You look at what's happening out in West, everybody's trying to get as big as possible to have someone to throw at Wemby. And obviously the Pistons aren't out West, but it's all the same. You're trying to get as big as possible. These 7-footers that can stretch the floor have become fast-track tickets to the top. And yet the Pistons take a 6'1" guard when guys like Phylum from Alabama at 6'3", guys like Cam Carr from Baylor, 6'5", both of which can score the basketball, not quite as much as Okorie can, but I'm just having a hard time looking past the size on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. Your point about him being like on paper, the right fit for the Pistons is true. Okorie fits a lot of things that the Pistons fans wanted coming into this offseason, a lot of things that, if we're talking about getting a piece, not only for helping out this season, but for the future of the Pistons, that was the take that I had about keeping the draft pick over the last couple days, was that, hey, you're going to take a guy that hopefully can be a part of this core going forward because you're hopefully not picking this high in the draft for quite some time. And it is a deep draft. And they made that obvious by trading up as well. Like, they moved 3 second-round picks to move up 4 spots to select Okorie. And so, yeah, I think that Danish Jenkins probably should not be considered when drafting in the first round. At the end of the day, Danish Jenkins is a G League player, turned into backup point guard, had way too big of a role at the end of the year.
Not a G League player anymore.
I said was a G League player.
Right.
And Okorie should be he should be a part of your core now going forward more than Danish Jenkins will be. So I don't take any consideration into the stuff with Danish. Some numbers that would be encouraging about Okorie for sure. He was first in all of the country in paint touch efficiency. Like, he got in the paint more than literally anyone with the basketball as a 6'1" guard. That's a pretty good sign. Only 1.9 turnovers per game, I think, is the big part, because as a guy who had the basketball in his hand a ton and was a self-creator, and like you said, one of the best scoring guys in the country, not even just freshmen, but just in general, 1.9 turnovers per game is like very impressive for a team in the Pistons that had a turnover issue.
Yeah, the team, Stanford in general, 11% turnover ratio when he was on the floor. That doubled to 20% when he was off the floor. So he was doing basically everything for this team.
Yeah. And then on top of it, what was one thing that we have discussed all offseason that the Pistons need? A dude that can just get buckets. A dude that can take some pressure off of Cade Cunningham, not even create for others, but just score. They just need that guy. Well, he led the country in unassisted field goal rate, which is essentially shooting the basketball without somebody passing it to me. Getting my shot up. 81% of his shots were unassisted. So he was a get it off the dribble guy. He was a get into the paint. I like the free throw stuff as well. The size is hard to look past. I'm with you.
If he was 6'5", 6'4", I'd have no problem with this pick. Yeah. But if he was 6'4", he'd probably be a top 10 pick. I was just going to say,
if he was 6'4", he's not going 17th overall.
Yeah, that's where I've landed on the draft pick. You're hoping for Kemba Walker, right? That's the hope here. That's the dream.
It's a high goal, right? I mean, Kemba Walker was like a multiple-time All-Star.
Mm-hmm. That's the type of player you have to be on offense, though, to last in the NBA at this size, right? Like, there's not a lot of bench guys that come in at 6 foot that have left any sort of impact in the NBA. You're really hoping, if this hits as a draft pick, you're hoping he turns into one of these really special offensive gifted players, and he was last year in college. It was in the worst Power 4 conference. Outside of Duke, that conference had absolutely nobody, so take that with what it is. But this is someone who scored 23 points per game. As a true freshman in college and led the ACC in scoring, he scored more than Boozer. He scored more than Darren Peterson. This is on a points per game basis. He scored more than Caleb Wilson. Like, he is a premier scorer at the college level. So if that's going to translate, he has to be a premier scorer in the NBA as well. I'm not talking 30 points per game necessarily, but he has to be someone who can get buckets in a hurry. You're asking him to be someone like Kemba Walker, maybe not to that degree like I'm talking about, but you got to be pretty damn special offensively to last.
Yeah, you do. I mean, and that is hopefully what they're shooting for here. It is tough because it is the 17th pick in the draft at the end of the day. And I don't know about you, but I don't think most teams are like aiming to get a superstar offensive player at pick 17.
Typically
right?
not, no.
So that's what makes this a little bit questionable as well, just because it is the 17th pick, and the Pistons maybe could have used a guy that you think could fit their wing culture, I guess, a little bit better. The big lengthiness that they bring to the table, kind of feeding into their identity even more. But still, on paper, it makes sense. The player itself makes sense. But like you said, when you see it, when you see the size, you're like, okay, yeah, is this just kind of a Marcus Sasser situation?
Yeah. I think Sasser can't get into the paint in the NBA. And like you said, with the paint touch set, that's a good find. I don't have as much concern about that. I do have concerns about him being able to get past people, that just are able to knock him off balance. Maybe he's picking up the fouls in that way, and you saw that with his 7 free throw attempts per game in college, which that's like one of the first numbers I'm always going to look for college players and players coming in general. How often can you get to the line? Because it's the most efficient shot in basketball, so the more you're getting there, the better it is.
Good free throw shooter as well, obviously.
Yeah, good free throw shooter, decent three-point shooter, 34%, so it's not like it's a strength of his, but getting to the paint is. Getting guys off balance is. That step-back shot that he has, which has essentially become an essential for NBA players, specifically guards. You have to be able to have that step-back shot. He certainly has that in his bag as well. I'm willing to raise it up to a B-. I had it as a C- at first. I'm willing to raise it up to a B-.
A whole letter. Wow.
He gets buckets, man.
And that's what I was going to say, too. If we're going off of the that boy nice, take here.
Yeah, if you were just outside watching street ball.
Exactly. We're not doing the let's break down the advanced analytics and this and that. If we're just watching the tape, this guy's got a great tape, man.
Yeah, this guy's He's problem at the student activity
center. His handle's unbelievable. He's got an insane handle.
That's the part where people are throwing out the Kyrie thing. I think it's ridiculous to compare basically anyone to Kyrie,
sure.
Except we're doing it with Darius Acuff, which is like the more extreme version of a 6'1" guy getting drafted and can come in, which is why he was would he go 7th?
Yeah.
So this is you kind of got the Walmart version of the tiny guard, not the Walmart version that feels like a disrespect.
Just the less known. I mean, he was just more under the radar. He wasn't on a very good team, young freshman,
not in a good conference either. Yeah, you got the lesser version of the tiny guard in this year's draft. I don't see Kyrie with him. I think that's a little ridiculous to compare most players to Kyrie because he's truly one of the most special little guys we've ever seen play in the NBA. NBA champion, however many time All-Star. I think you're aiming for guys like Kemba Walker, guys like Kevin Johnson. I've seen Maxey thrown around. I don't know if he has quite that burst that Maxey has because Maxey's the fastest player in the NBA. I don't think he's quite that, based on the limited tape I've seen of Okorie, but he's certainly got a quick first step, which is intriguing. So I'm willing to raise it up. I'll give it a B- if we're doing the classic draft grades. What do you got?
I think it's a B or B+. I really do enjoy it. I always will
Size
be more
is just scary.
I will be more on board when a team trades up for a guy because it clearly means that they weren't just okay, I guess we'll take him. There was no debate about who they should take at their pick. No. They saw an opportunity to go get a guy that clearly they were all in on, and they selected him. And it's a front office that we have so far felt confident in for the most part. Yeah. So I'm going to feel confident in the pick.
6'8" wingspan.
Yeah.
Makes up a little bit for the size defensively. Sure. I do question the reports about going after Norm Powell because that's a good player to add. But if you're going to have Norm Powell, Danis Jenkins, and Ebuka Okorie in your rotation, that to me is where it becomes we might be too small here, especially because they already have a smaller front court.
Hey man, the Knicks closed an NBA Finals win with Jalen Brunson and Jose Alvarado,
but they also have a 7-footer who can space the floor, and the Pistons don't have anything close to that. That's the fast track to the top. It's what do they call the Cedar Point thing? The fast pass. That's a fast pass to the top. Have one of those 7-footers that can stretch the floor. It feels like if you have one of those guys, it's a roster cheat code in terms of getting everybody else on the team.
Was there any of those guys in the draft? Not 7-footers.
No, not really. Well, there was one 7-footer that got drafted pretty early, and that would be a Damara, one of 3 Michigan draft picks to go in the lottery, something you and I called out all the way back in November. But the order of these players is perhaps the most shocking thing that happened in yesterday's draft. We'll hit that, the Michigan Wolverines to get drafted. When we come back, we'll talk to Brian Boesch, the play-by-play men's basketball voice for the Wolverines at 9:30. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mid.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9. On 100.9 The Mid.
So we end up having 3 different Michigan players drafted in the lottery. This is not coming as any surprise. The order of which is, though, Dallas Mavericks on the clock. Dusty May now their head coach. They've got the choice of anybody in the draft other than the 8 guys that were selected prior to them, none of which played for the University of Michigan. And what do, Kyle? Not a Daymera. No, they don't want a Wemby stopper. Not Yaxel Lendeberg. They don't want a second point forward with Cooper Flagg, which would have just been a tremendous defensive wing duo between Cooper Flagg and Yaxel Lendeberg that would allow them to basically build whatever type of roster they want with 2-6-9 guys that can initiate and create offense for the team. They go with Morez Johnson out of Michigan. This is one of the biggest shockers of the draft. I get it. Morez Johnson's a little bit younger than Yaxel Lendeberg. But, man, I don't think any of us actually thought he was a better basketball player. He's younger. This is going to come across like I don't think Morez Johnson can be a great NBA player, and that's not true. I think he can become if he can learn to shoot 34% from the outside, he doesn't have to be a knockdown three-point shooter, but if he can knock them down consistently, oh my God, this is going to be one of the more horrifying power forwards in the NBA. Just a great defensive prowess, someone who can stretch the floor, space the floor both vertically and horizontally. I think this guy can be a complete bully in the NBA, be someone like an Isaiah Stewart, like potentially a Rui Hachimura if he can really figure out his jump shot, and be a true enforcer in this league. I don't think he's better than Yaxel Lenneberg, though. This one's a total shocker. So now Dallas has this team where Morez Johnson's likely playing the 4 and Cooper Flagg's the 3. They're just going for size here, but if that's the case, why not just take a Daymera and move off of Derek Lively? I'm trying to figure this one out as to why Dusty May would go with Morez Johnson over his other 2 Michigan guys.
Answer me this. Now, obviously, the head coach being hired, they're going to have, of course, an impact on the draft pick. Pre-Dusty May getting hired, any world Morez Johnson gets picked 9th overall? Like, literally zero chance, right?
Mm-mm.
Now, that's an obvious statement to make because that's his boy, you know? Like, it was pretty... We got the vibe that Dusty May was going to pick one of the Michigan guys.
Yeah.
Of course. Like, it made a ton of sense. And I still thought there was a world where it didn't happen because there was some guys on the board. You know, we had discussed that it felt right pairing a guard with Cooper Flagg in the future. Braden Burries was a guy that could have been in that spot. So if Kingston Flemings would have fell to 9, that would have made a ton of sense as well. Morez Johnson going 9th, I couldn't get over it. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about it.
You should have seen Kyle yesterday. Morez Johnson, Dusty May's an idiot.
Like what is he doing? I'm not saying that Morez Johnson isn't going to be great, but and it's not even the fact that he took one of his guys because, like I said, that just felt obvious. To let Adai Mara slip and Yaxel Lendenberg, which we talked about maybe pairing him and Cooper Flagg, that seems like a really fun duo, but the age stuff, I get it with Yax. I understand that's why he falls a little bit. Morez over Mara, I'm just very perplexed by that. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, if the goal is to get as big as possible, why not just take the 7'3" guy and get as big as humanly possible? I am perplexed by this one. So Morez Johnson ends up going 9 to Dallas. Yaxel Lenderberg goes 11 to Golden State, and within the hour of being drafted says he used to hate Steph Curry and just throws a couple more digs at Michigan State that he would not.
Yeah.
What was it? He would not
He
say
said
go
if
green.
Draymond like let him wear number 23, but he had to wear Michigan State gear or something, and he was like, "No, I hate Michigan State."
And then he said he hates his point guard, or used to hate his point guard. One thing we know about Yaxel Lenderberg is he is a very transparent person. He will always stay true to himself, even if it gets him in a little bit of trouble. I do think the fit here from a basketball standpoint is just about perfect with Golden State. This is a team that moves the basketball around about as fast as any team typically does, the way that they run their offense. He's a great connecting piece in transition, spaces the floor, can put the ball on the ground and attack the rim. If the Warriors' goal is to continue the 4-out, 5-out type of look, spaced sort of offense, Yaxel Lenderberg can fit into this perfectly because you have to have a high basketball IQ to play in the Warriors' offense with the way the ball moves around and everyone's off-ball movement. And I think Yaxel Lenderberg does a phenomenal job at both of those things.
Yeah, I think Yax is going to be, like, this pick I really do like. I've, of course, made my opinions on Yaxel Lenderberg. A lot of those are extremely biased. Like, he's going to be a good NBA player, and I think this is the right fit. There was a lot of situations that I didn't love for him, and the ones that I did were teams that I felt he could legit go to right away and start on. That's why I didn't love it for the Pistons, because I just didn't see a world where Lenderberg was going to be a starter for Detroit. It felt like he was going to make his biggest impact and be best utilized on a team that he was going to start right away on. I think that this team is. You know, you have Jimmy Butler with his injury, and I don't know what the issue, or at least the stance on him is going to be going into next season as far as if he's going to be ready to go or not. But this has been a Warriors team that has been looking for someone like this for some time, right? Like, they need a connecting piece almost.
You can go be the Wiggins for him again.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I feel like that's a pretty good comparison right there. And so there's a very large world where, hey, Moses Moody, who started 50 games last year for Golden State, that could just be Lenderberg's spot. Like, I think he absolutely could come in and start right away for them. So I like the pick. I do like the pick for Golden State.
And then the most heartbreaking one of them all, because now we just have to dislike this guy. Adai Mera ends up on OKC, which we all saw coming. We thought there was a team in front of them, you know, like Dallas, who would have just pulled the trigger and prevented OKC from getting a 7'3" guy. The guy that's maybe closest to height in Wemby in the NBA now. You thought that somebody would prevent OKC from getting him, but no. OKC swoops in, number 12 pick, and now they have a guy to go toe-to-toe with Victor Wembanyama. It's unbelievable what this team's able to pull off. It's unbelievable what they can pull off.
They didn't even have to trade up. Like, this is not being stated clearly enough here. How do we let OKC get him for free?
And not only that, because they didn't trade up to get Ade Mara, it allows them to trade up and get another one of the best players in college basketball last year, Bennett Sturtz. They have Bennett Sturtz and Ade Mara, two of the best college basketball players from last season, now on their team as a team that was one of the 4 best teams in the league this year.
It's just letting
it's mind-blowing.
Letting OKC get Mara when we had discussed, he's probably going to go in the top 10. I could see teams really convincing themselves of, like, this is a guy you kind of have to have just based off of the way that the league is going and the Wemby stuff for sure. It felt OKC was going to have to get crazy aggressive. And nope, they didn't have to at all. They just sat there and waited. They got aggressive to get Sturtz instead. But I just can't believe that Mara is on OKC. It just is so upsetting, especially because I told you this pre-show. Now, Ade Mara is now included in the Paul George trade.
Yep.
The whole let's take a look back at the trade. You know, the one that gave the back-to-back MVP to the Thunder. That all what
and
if
5 first-round picks
and
or whatever it
Jalen
was.
Williams. And if Mara becomes sick too,
which I feel like he will be.
I feel like he probably will be too. I agree. So frustrating.
Yeah, they had Utah's pick. That's how they had the 12th pick. And then they had the 17th pick and moved up one spot because they had the 76ers pick from the Al Horford trade from 2020. They got a 2026 first-round pick from a trade 6 years ago. The way that this team is moving, it's just different than any other sports franchise that exists.
It is moving differently.
So, yeah, Ade Mara is now not a very well-liked person. Thank you for all that you did for Michigan and helping them bring a title, but now we root on your downfall, unfortunately.
So is the Dallas Mavericks the new, Michigan fans' second favorite team?
Taking over Orlando?
Yeah, I mean, Orlando, that's kind of gone, right?
Well, who was it then?
Well, there isn't one. I guess, sure, it should have been Orlando, but, are Michigan fans going to, root for the Mavs?
I think if Yax went there, it would have been yes. I think with Morez Johnson going there, probably a little less so. If Yax and Dusty were both there, I think Michigan fans would latch onto that pretty quickly. Morez, I don't know if people are as into Morez Johnson as they are with Yax. 989-837-6125. You know who will be a good person to talk to about this draft, about Mike Boynton becoming the interim head coach. It's Brian Boesch, play-by-play voice for the Michigan Wolverines on the men's basketball side of things. We'll chat with him next. It's the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on the Mitt. 9 o'clock hour, as always, is brought to you by Iron Stack Technology. Quick shout-out to Iron Stack Technology. You know, we talk about the game plan and the execution of it on this show. That's how Iron Stack approaches IT. They help businesses stay secure, efficient, and ready for what's next so you can focus on your mission instead of your tech. That's Iron Stack Technology, solution-driven mission focus. You can check them out online at ironstacktechnology.com. The show, as always, is brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair, the experts who do the job right the first time. Whether you have a leaky roof, storm damage, siding looking tired, Bresky has you covered. Locally owned, trusted, and dedicated to keeping Midland area homes safe and looking sharp. Quality materials, skilled craftsmanship, and service that puts your family first. Don't wait for the next storm. Call Bresky Siding and Building Repair today and keep your home strong for years to come.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Brian Boesch, one of the voices of the Michigan Wolverines, joining us here now on the show. Brian, I'm glad you're with us today because I want to talk to you as soon as I heard that, Dusty May was going to be moving on because there was so much to talk to there. Then they hire Mike Boynum to be the interim head coach. There was so much to talk to there. Then the NBA draft happens last night, and we've had 3 Wolverines picked in the lottery. So a lot to jump into. Let's start with last night. I think it's shocked pretty much everyone that followed both Michigan and follows the NBA that Morez Johnson, of the 3 Michigan studs from last season, was drafted first and ends up pairing back with Dusty May. He had the choice to draft Yaxel Lenderberg, Ade Mara, or Morez Johnson, bring back one of the Michigan guys, and reunite him in Dallas. I think most people had Morez Johnson as the 3rd guy that they thought would be taken off the board in the NBA draft. So how surprised were you when you saw or found out that Morez Johnson was going to be reunited with Dusty May in Dallas?
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me on, guys. I was a little bit surprised, but I always went into this draft thinking that there were pretty obvious delineations for all 3 of these guys. Yax was probably going to be the guy who could impact winning the quickest and probably would have to impact winning the quickest because of his age and the fact that he is what the NBA is in a lot of ways becoming, and that's switchable wings who can play on both ends of the floor. With Adai, I thought he was the highest upside guy where, it makes a lot of sense that Oklahoma City took him after experiencing Victor Wembanyama in the Western Conference Finals. I'm very bullish on what Adai can be defensively, and I think there's some real ceiling there offensively that will probably dictate whether or not he's a rotation player or a potential impact star-like player. And I always thought Morez was the highest floor and the most impactful from a culture standpoint. So now thinking with the 2020 vision of knowing what's happening and how much say did Dusty have as the Mavericks coach in this? I don't think a ton. How much say did he have as the Michigan coach who was talking to Dallas and other teams in the lottery about his players? I think that was where it probably had more of an impact. Maybe this was the check mark at the very end of the conversation or a break ties in the favor of the coach you just hired to be your head coach in Dusty in Dallas. But Morez is somebody who 100% raises the temperature around those he practices with, plays with. I think he is assured of being, at worst, a rotation player that can play in playoff games. He has the toughness, the tenacity, the skill set to be able to impact winning. Do I expect him running, 1-4 out at any point in his career? No, that's not his game. But I do know that he can be, at worst, an enforcer and someone who can impact a locker room. As the first pick of a new head coaching regime, I think that makes a lot of sense. So, it was a little bit surprising, but I thought any of those 3 guys could have gone in any order, and it makes sense with Morez going to Dallas.
It's funny because as soon as we hear the news about Dusty May going to Dallas and you look at the board and they've got the 9th pick, my mind instantly went to Yaxel, to where it's like, okay, you pair up a point forward, a 6'9" point forward with perhaps the best 6'9" point forward not project, but young player in the NBA, and you have 2 of those guys that could lead to such an easy roster construction the rest of the way. So in my mind, it was like, we're going to have Yax and Cooper Flagg on the same team, and this is going to be a defensive nightmare for other offenses. And they end up going with Morez Johnson, who's just as good as a defender, probably brings a little bit more rim protection, but doesn't bring the offensive stuff that Yaxel necessarily brought from his time at Michigan and what he could do in the NBA.
Yeah, the way I looked at it was somewhat similarly, but thinking more forward of, Yax was a unicorn in college. Yax, why I think he's such an intriguing fit toward the tail end of the lottery is because, oftentimes those teams are trying to contend or get back into contention. It makes a lot of sense with Golden State because they're trying to make one more run at this with guys who have led them to championships before. I looked at it as, hey, what did Dusty do in college? He unlocked something that people really didn't do, and that was play 3 bigs together the way that Michigan did after playing 2 bigs together with Danny and Vlad in year 1. I kind of thought with Adai, it was one of those scenarios where, okay, in the NBA, you've got an alien in San Antonio where that could be the next evolution. And Adai is somebody who, at his ceiling, Adai Mara could change the complexion of a franchise and how they play. If a guy can develop any sort of outside shooting at a consistent level, that with his defensive skills and his ability to rebound and fill out the body at 7-3, all of that, he looked to me like a potential skeleton key for a new approach to interacting. And that was just me projecting and trying to figure out how Dusty would unlock things in the NBA. But again, he's been there. It's syllabus week for Dusty, right? Like it's early, so I don't know how much say he had in it, but certainly I liked Yax's quotes yesterday of basically being like, yeah, I'd have been mad if it was any other team, but he took a Michigan guy, so it's all good.
Speaking of Dusty, so how shocked were you when you did find out Dusty May was going to be taking the Dallas job and leaving Michigan? Because this is a rumor that's existed for a long time that Dusty May eventually wants to play in the NBA. That's his long-term goal. But this was so far removed from the season, and I guess it's not total random timing with the draft happening. Usually teams like to have their head coach figured out before they go into an NBA draft. But it was just, there was no noise about it for so long that I kind of just got to a point where I was like, yeah, I guess Dusty May's coming back this year. Next year, we're going to deal with the same cycle again. This is probably going to be similar to the Harbaugh situation where every year there's rumors about this, but cross your fingers and hope that he's coming back. And then, bam, just like that, out of nowhere, breaks in the middle of the show, Dusty May's gone. So how surprised were you when you saw this?
Surprised that it happened when it did. Not surprised that he was going to the NBA. That always felt like the eventual spot. I thought he had some of those characteristics as early as before he ever coached a game at Michigan. Just the way he thinks, his progressive mindset, his basketball junkie approach. I mean, the dude watches more basketball than anybody I've ever been around, and I've covered basketball for a while now. Like he is ingrained. I think it's interesting when you think back to the Michigan hiring of Dusty. There was a lot more smoke around Louisville and even Ohio State in the immediate aftermath of Florida Atlantic losing to Northwestern in the first round of the 24 NCAA tournament. And then it was a late night over the weekend. First, I think second round is finishing up, and it's, Woj breaks that Dusty's going to Michigan. So yeah, Dusty's somebody who moves a little bit quieter than most in these circles. And yes, I do think that you could kind of see the tea leaves now of just frustration of where college sports is going. And ultimately, I think that's part of it. But also, it's easy to say, hey, he'll eventually get an NBA job. But it's not like there are a ton of jobs that come open where you think, wow, this has a chance, or I have some sort of foundational piece to get there. And with Dallas, you have a guy in Cooper Flagg who, if he reaches his 80th percentile outcome, not 95th, 99th, but 80th percentile outcome, he's probably a top 10 player in the NBA in the next 1 to 3 years. And you have a GM that has been proven to build an NBA championship roster and an organization and a franchise that, I think the one knock is that it's in the Western Conference. The Western Conference is stronger. But unquestionably, when you compare Dallas to the other jobs that Dusty was linked to in some way, shape, or form, Chicago and Orlando, Dallas is, I think, several tiers above that. Now, could something weird happen and Oklahoma City opens next year? Yeah, sure. Like that would be a job that obviously anybody would want to have. But more times than not, these are roles where you don't have a foundational piece like Cooper Flagg. So it's one of those where maybe he wanted to get in a year early than a year late. And the fact that this team, I haven't asked him this, I hope to one day, but I have to imagine that winning the national championship helps, because he left Florida Atlantic to go to a place where it was realistic to win a national championship, and he did it. If Michigan loses to Tennessee or Arizona or UConn, does he make this move? I'm not sure, but certainly that aspect is why I think Michigan fans, you should be sad. I'm sad. I'm bummed. I love the guy. I love him as a coach. I love him as a human being. But they won a national championship. Like, that's what we do this for. That's what you're a fan for. And if the aftermath of a national championship is a bit of a bummer, think about what other teams are thinking in that moment. It was still all very much worth it, even if, yes, who wouldn't want more of Dusty? Man, I'd have loved to have had him sign a lifetime contract on April 7th. It's just not how it works.
You talked about the timing of this too. You know, that was the shocking part for you. What is next for Michigan now? Since the timing happens, you know, in the summer right now, I assume that summer workouts have begun and everything like that has started for Michigan. And Mike Boynton Jr. has been named the interim head coach. And most fans probably aren't dialed into the ins and outs of the assistant coaches on the staff and stuff like that. I, of course, know that you've probably had plenty of conversations with Coach Boynton. So what are Michigan fans getting with the new interim head coach?
Yeah, as a human being, I think Mike is as good of a dude as I've been around. And the way I've been saying this is that he is uniquely qualified in this short-term moment. And that's because Michigan has a roster that's going to go into next year if it stays as is. The roster in a vacuum is a top 10 roster. It is a Big Ten contending roster. It is a Final Four contending roster. And with Dusty May leading the program, it's probably a top 3 to 5 team in the polls. With Mike Boynton Jr., how could it be there? We don't know. The few things I'll say about Mike, number one, is that he is as good of a relationship builder as anybody I've been around in college sports. It is genuine. It is human. It's not just basketball. It's not transactional. He is trying to build a real human relationship. If you want to know about Mike Boynton Jr.'s relationship building, go find any clip of Cade Cunningham talking about Mike. And along those lines, to bridge the gap to my second point, anybody who is painting Mike Boynton Jr.'s tenure at Oklahoma State as anything but a success is not understanding the context of what he had to deal with there. That was probably the worst funded team in a budding super conference in college basketball. And he got a number 1 overall pick to commit to him over the term of a long, extended recruiting process and got them to be a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. They did it with one of the last true NCAA punishments in terms of postseason bans. Yes, did it get a little bit tough down the stretch? Of course, absolutely, because there weren't the resources there. I'm not saying that guarantees that he's going to be a good head coach here at Michigan. What I've said is that he deserves the opportunity. And he is the person to try to figure this out in the short to medium term. As for the medium and long term, that remains to be seen because Mike is an excellent X's and O's coach. He is a defensive mastermind. But like anything, when you become the head coach, you do less basketball. You do much less basketball in college. So how will he level up to some of the responsibilities, the other duties as assigned? NIL fundraising, donor relationships, portal recruiting, public facing situations. That will be the question. The staff that he builds, just like Dusty said a lot, the staff that he built was the underrated aspect of last year's championship run. Mike was a huge part of that, and he's been a head coach before, so he knows some of this, but he's never been a head coach at Michigan. He's certainly never been a head coach. Very few people have been a head coach in this type of a spot. People have compared the Sharon Moore stuff and that this is a lazy hire by Michigan and all that. What do you want Ward Manuel to do in this situation? Like, I don't know. The only option in the short term is Mike Boynton Jr. How it will go, I'm not really sure, but he is the type of guy who has the qualifications to make the most out of a really, really tough spot.
Ryan Boesch, one of the play-by-play voices of the Michigan Wolverines. I think we could do this for another hour if we really wanted to, but we got to get going here soon. Last thing I have for you, you said the relationships were really good with Boynton and the players. That would lead me to believe, just that statement alone, that he's going to do a pretty good job of retaining, at the very least, the players that are already on the team. I told Kyle this yesterday. All the incoming freshmen to me, each of those guys are probably wild cards as to what's going to happen here, the guys that are committed to Michigan. But the guys that are on the team right now, how much retention do you think there's going to be?
It's a great question, Ben. And I think, like anything, I'd be surprised if the number were 0 in terms of departures, just because that's how college basketball works. But I'd be surprised if it were much higher than 0. I think it starts with the backcourt. The first test for Mike Boynton Jr. as the head coach is to maintain Elliot Cadeau and Trey McKinney. The thing that I'm most bummed about, just as a basketball fan, is that we were going to get to see the closest FAU Dusty at Michigan. Because at FAU, he had to recruit undersized guys. He couldn't recruit 6-7 wings because they weren't going to FAU. He was going to have to build with the best backcourt in the country potentially 1 year after having the best front court in the country. So that's where it starts. And, Trey McKinney has tweeted out his support. We'll see what happens with Elliott and the rest of the roster. But I do believe in a lot of ways, the calendar and the timing is bad for Michigan, but the calendar here helps. The team was supposed to have their first workout of the summer, official workout, on Monday. That obviously got moved. The Dusty May basketball camp did continue along unabated, which is hilarious. But like, this is something that will be the first true test. Is he able to keep a good chunk of the roster? I think he will, but I'm never going to deal in absolutes when it comes to roster building. It's why big time programs in college basketball with 15 available scholarship spots will almost never have 15 scholarship players. It's bad business because stuff can change, and it's tough to pay 15 people because, let's face it, once you get to March, you're at best having a 9-man rotation, and oftentimes it's 8 or 7. So there has to be some sort of benefit to where this happens in terms of available spots in the game of portal musical chairs. But yeah, I think that this entire roster is going to stay intact? No, but Mike has the ability to do it, and that's the test. From there, we'll see how he can use the roster. But he is being appointed interim coach for a number of reasons, and probably at the top of the list is they've got to hold serve on a top 10 roster as best as they can.
Later on this summer, I'll come on and preview some Michigan football. I know there's a lot to get into. It's a little early to do it right now, but later on this summer, you want to come back?
Oh, fired up, man. Anytime. You guys know it.
Perfect. All right, Brian
Congrats
Boesch.
on calling the national championship game, by the way, too.
Yeah, that's
a great feat.
Incredible.
Let's do it, man. I'm fired up. It's fun time to be around. Obviously, wish Dusty were staying, but Kyle Whittingham, he's now kind of the face, right? Like, Dusty was kind of the guy who answered stuff, and there was Whittingham at Comerica Park the night that the news broke. So never assume anything in college sports.
Play-by-play voice, Michigan Wolverines, Brian Boesch. Appreciate you joining us.
All right, fellas, be well.
Be well as well. All right, when we come back, we'll hit the news, go over the rest of the draft. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on the Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter segment, so let's not waste any time. Let's just hit the news.
The Mits Morning Catch.
All right, we're making this quick, Ben. We're going to go over the NBA draft picks, because I don't know if you saw that. There was more picks than just the Michigan guys last night.
There was?
Yeah.
It did just end after that?
Kind of crazy. Let's talk about the top 5 of the draft. A.J. DeBonsa goes first to Washington. Darren Peterson, second to Utah. Cam Boozer, third to Memphis. We'll just do the top 3 for now. Thoughts?
Do
immediate
do
reactions.
4. I think
Fourth
4 should be
pick,
grouped.
Caleb Wilson to the Bulls. I'm going to throw the 5th pick in because I said I might as well now. Keaton Wagler of Illinois, who we got to see a lot this year.
Well, okay,
he goes 5th to the Clippers.
The reason I said throw in the 4th is I think the top 4 should get bunched together in their own group. Like, I think those guys kind of levitate above everyone else. And then to throw Keaton Wagler in there of all people to round out the top 5 is hysterical to me. I'm trying to remember
Ben's
back.
pretty anti-Keaton Wagler, man.
I'm just trying to remember back last. Like, his story is incredible. What, he was a unranked or like a 1-star guy, and Illinois finds him, and he's
3-star recruit, I think.
Yeah, one of the best
Not top
freshmen in
100.
the country.
And goes
Sure.
5th overall after 1 year. Like, very cool story.
If I am trying to recall the Michigan versus Illinois, I'm not going to tell you I watched every single Illinois game, but I definitely watched Michigan play them once or twice. Michigan State, exact same thing. I watched Illinois in the tournament. I watched Illinois in Mackey when they went and took that team down. So, like, I got my eyes on this guy a good amount. I don't think I ever saw this guy hit a layup or attack the rim or dunk the basketball. He doesn't do that. He settles for
He's a tough
18-foot
shot
jump
maker.
shots.
I mean, and he took a lot of threes. He took a ton of threes. The games where he
makes
really
them.
had the hype was like he's just hitting 28-foot pull-up threes.
or he'll drive in, get to the elbow, and hit a fadeaway 18-footer. Like, all that stuff
a
is
shot
great.
maker, yes.
Sorry, I prefer my top 5 picks are able to get to the rim.
Now,
I
he
thought it
is
was
like
crazy
6'6".
he was the first guard that
He's
went
like
off the
a
board.
6'6" point guard, which I think that's like kind of the reason why he has a lot more hype. He's extremely young as well.
But it's not. He doesn't have a quick first step. He doesn't have good burst getting to the rim. Like, he doesn't have crazy athleticism. I don't know. This one freaked me out. I don't know if he should
freaked him out. Okay, what about the top 4?
I love Caleb Wilson. I don't love that he's in Chicago.
And I was hoping that Chicago took Wagler. Just to mess it up.
I love what Caleb Wilson's floor is. I think that guy can be, a defensive prowess in one of these like freak athletes to where, 6'11" guy shouldn't be able to dribble the basketball the way that he does and
sure.
attack the rim.
And then
him.
you watch DeBonsa and you're the same. Like a 6'9" guy should not be able to move the way that he does.
Yeah, I ended up on my way down to St. Louis on Friday. I watched a 24-minute video of those two playing each other in college or in high school. Darren Peterson and AJ DeBansa. Just to kind of, I just wanted to see him go toe to toe. Peterson was clearly the better player in high
Peterson
school.
was the better high school. I mean, like, he wasn't ranked higher, but Peterson was the consensus guy. Yeah.
He was, he just looked more polished. He
Yes.
looked like he was more in control. DeBansa just happened to be 6'9"
Huge and like
enormous.
built. He's not just like
Yeah.
a skinny, like he's not like Durant. I see people give the Durant stuff.
No, he's
Durant
big.
was so scrawny in college. DeBonsa's built.
I think DeBansa was the right number 1 pick.
I think so too.
I think
so too.
the Peterson stuff.
But I think there was 2 first overall picks in this class. I really do.
I think there was 3.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I love what Caleb
You're
Wilson
probably
is. I think it's Wilson.
Wilson?
Yeah, Wilson over. I think Boozer is the highest floor of any of these guys. Any of them. Boozer is going to be a good NBA player. I don't know if he can be a superstar, though. I think those other 3 guys can be super-duper stars in this league. 989-837-6125. It's the Ben Bosscher Show, live here on the Mitt. More when we come back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9.
LUN, Pinconning, Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
So one thing that happened for sure yesterday is the Pistons got a little bit smaller. I'm so conflicted about this draft pick of Ebuka and Okorie. First of all, I saw the name when they drafted him, and I just instantly was like, "Oh no, I don't like this."
Just literally right there. I mean, first and last name wrong. It's just this is just gonna be a fun
Ebuka
test.
Okorie?
Yeah, there you go. You said Ebuka on Corey.
I don't know.
Just threw an M and an N.
As soon as
there.
they drafted him, I was like, "Oh God, this is gonna be bad for a couple
At least you
days."
recognize it, you know.
I'll get it eventually. Ebuka Okorie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I'm conflicted about this one because he gets buckets. It's exactly what the Pistons need. He was third amongst freshmen in scoring last year, and all the other guys that were ahead of him and below him were, the guys that were picked at the top of this year's draft, Boozer and DeBansa and Peterson and Caleb Wilson. And then there's him. The problem with him is he's 6'1" on a good day. And if the Pistons truly are going to go get a guy like Norm Powell, who's, would be a nice signing in theory, it's like, what does this become? Does this just become another guy who can't really play? Or does Danis Jenkins just get booted from the rotation and then you get even smaller, even if he is a better player than Danis Jenkins? So I am conflicted because if his skills translate to the NBA, it probably won't matter if he can just score at a very efficient rate. He has to be a certified bucket getter, a guy who can score at a high level. I'm talking elite offensive player. That is the only way this works when you get to the NBA at this size. And the Pistons trading up to get him obviously tells you that they have a little bit of confidence in that happening. But he can't just be a good offensive player. He has to be an elite scorer in this league. Not like a 30 points per game guy, but an elite scorer, like bench player, like a six-man type of player. That's the type of player he has to be offensively to make up for his size. Now, the wingspan of being 6'8" compared to him being 6'1" certainly makes up for that a little bit defensively. But I am a little bit hesitant to be all in on this draft pick because at the end of the day, the Pistons just got smaller in a league where sizes increasingly matter more and more and more the way that teams build their roster. We had this stretch during 2015, 2016 where this is small ball. This is what you want. We are so far away from that right now. Everyone is trying to get a 7-footer who can space the floor. Everyone wants two huge guys in their front court. Everyone wants these big 6'6" guards, and the Pistons are lucky to have one of those guys in Cade Cunningham, a do-it-all type of guard. And then they bring in one who's just, at the end of the day, one of the smaller players in the NBA. There's a little bit of holdup in that for me, even though in college, this guy just completely got buckets. That boy nice, like you said. If he's out in the, outdoor basketball, street ball, he'd probably stick out as one of the best players. That's the type of guy he is, but how does that translate to NBA basketball? That's TBD.
Yeah, I think that the point you make about him, he basically has to be like an elite sixth man for it to truly work out. I think I agree with that. I think that's probably the best way to think about it because the more and more you talk about, we'll name the 6-foot guys that are truly real impact players that aren't like Jalen Brunson, that aren't just ultra small guys. Because even every small guy you can think of, for every positive thing they bring to the table, you still just always recognize the size. And you recognize okay, so they are going to get targeted defensively. Mm-hmm. And it's like Okorie is this known to be a bad defender. He brought it defensively at Stanford, and the length really helps. The fact that he
is in the ACC, that needs to be stated for that. I think.
What does that even mean?
There's not a lot of great guards in the ACC. That's
so
all.
So he's not a good defender because he played in the ACC.
I think him being you're right. He was not a disastrous
Caleb Wilson
defender.
played in the ACC.
He was not a disaster. He was never going to guard Caleb Wilson. He's not a disastrous defender in college.
But is he a bad defender?
I think that's so TBD. I don't know.
I just think that's I think that's, you can throw that out the window. The conference he played in for being a bad defender or not. You can just watch tape to tell if a guy brings it on defense.
Sure.
But all I'm saying is that even the guys that the Jalen Brunsons of the world, those guys who bring everything offensively, superstar players. Guess what we were still talking about in the NBA Finals? Oh man, Dylan Harper's just going right at him every time. This rookie, he's just going right at him, and not much they can really do about it. You have to try to hide him. I've already seen a take of man, if he could be obviously much different player, but if he could be Peyton Pritchard, like is that a success? And I think, well, yeah, it could be. But think about Peyton Pritchard. It's just another guy that, like, at the end of the Celtics games, if Pritchard isn't, like, going off that game, not just, like, drilling his shots, he's just probably not closing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would just rather have White with the bigger lineup out there. So it's a difficult spot for envisioning, like, what is best case scenario without blowing the top off of it. Because we can't just sit here and be like, well, he's going to be Kemba. He's going to be Kyrie. He's going to be Tyrese Maxey. Okay, those guys are, like, all-star, incredible players. You don't usually get that at pick 17.
Then what if it's Schroeder? If he's Dennis Schroeder, is that a good draft pick?
Hey, current Schroeder?
Good for Pistons
played on
Schroeder.
1,000 different teams, Dennis
Because I
Schroeder?
think Dennis Schroeder is one of these guys to where he's not necessarily an elite scorer, even though he can score. He became a really good manipulator of the defense. That I haven't seen with Okorie yet. Okorie or Okorie?
Okorie,
yeah.
Yes.
That I haven't seen in his tape yet. The ability to manipulate a defense, like it's less than 4 assists per game, but it's the 0 turnovers
It's
and the ability
buckets,
to just get to certain spots on the floor where you're not going to be able to stop me from doing that.
Which at the end of the day, it is what the Pistons need the most. We do have a good amount of people in our YouTube chat chiming in today, so we can
go ahead
hop on this. Pistons Mike says, should have drafted Cameron Carr. Who ended up going to the Lakers, right?
That was one of the guys
weighing out of
written down.
Baylor. Yeah.
6'5", 37% from 3 on 6 attempts per game, 5 free throw attempts. A little bit older.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the age thing matters to me that much anymore.
Brad chimes in.
Franchise player. Brad
he
Tunney,
says,
that guy?
Yes, Brad Tunney. I'm cool with Okorie. Big hands, long wingspan, low turnover, high free throw rate, good scoring efficiency as a best player on a mid-team guy, Harvard/Stanford commit. Yeah, high IQ guy as well. Like that's
gotta matter,
That's
right?
the big part too, being smart. Rap in our YouTube chat says, why are we talking about defense? We have a Sar. He's drafted to be a bucket.
That's true. The Pistons just don't draft two-way guys. They're like, we'll either have a great defensive player or we'll have a great offensive player. We'll have Cade kind of patch everything together, and that's it. We don't have two-way guys. Like I'm increasingly, the more I watch him, becoming more okay with it. But yeah, man, it's really hard to overlook that size. It's something that will follow him the rest of his career, even if he ends up being an elite scorer. You know, the way that Kemba is. It's like he's a great scorer, ... for his size. That's always going to be the case with Okorie.
Jacob kind of saying the same thing. He says, I'm a bit bummed at the height. That's the only complaint I have. I heard he isn't a great finisher at the rim, but I haven't had time to look at film. I would have taken Carr for sure. Height is so important unless you are generational. So
Carr was there and Philon was there too, the Alabama kid.
That is the one take I've seen people have is like, okay, if you were going to go the route of getting buckets, shot creator type guy,
go with the 6'3" guy who shot 40% from three.
A lot of people liked LeBaron Philon over Okorie. I can't stamp mine on either side here. It's not like I was adamant about either guy. Philon was the much more notable player. He's also a much better playmaker.
A little older.
A year older, was a 2-year college guy at Alabama, went to the draft last year, ended up coming back to Alabama.
Still got to the free throw line 6 times per game too.
And obviously, we've been talking Michigan all day. You remember the game against Michigan? LeBaron Philon went crazy.
Yeah, how could you forget?
He had the unreal game, and so that's probably what people were thinking about, Pistons fans specifically.
And just
so
a sick name, just a cool name.
You don't like Ebuka Okorie?
It's a harder name.
LeBaron Philon is not like an easy one. I'll say that.
Something about the EBs always screw me up. Anytime an E is next to a
it's
B,
like Rob
it really
Gronkowski trying to say
up.
Emeka Ebuka. What did he say again? Yeah, he was like
Ebuka
Ngboku, or it was way worse than that. Whatever it was like the worst pronunciation.
Have you
you've
ever seen
heard.
the Barstool guy Frank try to pronounce Giannis's name?
No.
I got to show you this clip during the break. It is so funny.
It's not as bad as the one when Giannis was a rookie and he catches for 3. Adentokumbu.
I love when people pronounce names wrong because I do it all the time. And I love when there's just made up syllables and letters that are in it. It's like, where did you get the
boo?
P?
Where did you get the boo? Adentokumbu.
I can't even laugh at them. I mess them up all the time.
So good.
I'm giving it a B-. That's where I've kind of landed on this, which is kind of a lame. It's like, yeah, you're fine.
One thing we really haven't discussed enough, and this is our last YouTube chat we can get to. Chris says, The 3 second-round picks the Pistons gave up could have been used to sweeten the pot in a trade for a real number 2 option. What did you think about the trade-up? You haven't really talked about it that much.
I mean, the Pistons going into the draft yesterday had 14 second-round picks. That was the most in the NBA. So they still have 11 second-round picks that they are able to utilize to go use however they want, to go cash in for a second player, like that texter said. They must clearly like Okorie if they're willing to move up 3 second-round picks to move up 4 picks and go and get him. That, or it was like, hey, we want him or Sturts. And then when OKC jumped up and took Sturts at 16, they were like, well, we have to have one of our guys.
Yeah.
That could totally be it. Because I think Sturts would have been a pretty nice fit for this team. Right? And of course, OKC ends up jumping up and taking him. And as soon as that happened, maybe that was a Pistons, not panic, but hey, we told ourselves we need to walk away with one of these 2 guards.
Yeah.
And those were, one of these guards, and these were the last 2 of that list left.
And if they wanted to get the guard, Okorie is the scorer of the 2 guards. Sturts is the more playmaking, shot creating type of guard. Obviously, he can still
score.
Yeah, I mean, he's more of a shooter rather than an all around scorer, I would say. But Okorie is the scoring guard of the 2. So if they wanted that route, then they got the right guy.
989-837-6125. The Michigan players, shocking, the order that they went in, but there's a reason this team won a national championship. I will give Kyle and I some credit from this. We've been saying since basically November, when they started murdering teams right off rip, holy crap, Yaxel Lenderberg, this is a guy who can play in the NBA tomorrow if you wanted to. That wasn't that hot of a take. But you know what we do deserve credit on? Immediately after game 1, pointing out, wait, this Ade Marifel is a little different. He's not just 7 foot. He's 7'3", 7'4", and has beautiful touch around the rim, great footwork, hustles his butt off, is an elite defender. This guy's more than just a big college basketball player. Morez Johnson, we recognized very quickly. This guy's a bulldog of a human being who can go play in the NBA, be an Isaiah Stewart, be somebody like, and look at that, 3 of them go in the top 12. Let's dive a little further into their fits when we come back, because I know the Michigan fans want to follow these guys along from this national championship team. Who is the best fit of those 3 guys? That's when we come back. The 10 o'clock hour, as always, is brought to you by Air Insurance. Tired of your insurance being worse than your position in your fantasy football league? Well, Air Insurance Group steps in like a clutch pinch hitter and gets you into better insurance positions. Pinch hitter. AJ Hinch would love these guys. Give them a follow on social media. You'll learn something, maybe even laugh a little, and definitely stop overpaying for insurance that's striking out.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, thank you, Kyle, for reminding me. It is Big Win Wednesday, thanks to our friends over at Garber Chevrolet. So guess what? Right now, we are giving away Great Lakes Loons tickets. All you got to do is text in Loons to 989-837-6125. Text in Loons to 989-837-6125. 989-837-6125 for a chance to win Great Lakes Loons tickets. We'll pick a winner here shortly. I just saw during the break the video of Dusty May's live reaction to a Day Merrick getting drafted. I must have missed this last night. He like slammed his hands together and was like, ah! Brother, you could have picked him. What do you think, you were getting him twice?
What are we talking about?
Do you think he was just
getting him twice?
Did you think he was just frustrated like, I'm going to have to play this guy? They're in the same division, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it was probably more of just like like he went to the Thunder.
Yeah. We all knew he was going to the Thunder, man.
Yeah. Well, they're not in the same division, but they're in the same divisions. Obviously, don't even really matter. But
you play him more.
But they're not in the same division though, because Oklahoma City, of course, is in the Northwest Division.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense geographically. So, yeah, I'm assuming he's just mad he went to OKC, right? I mean, if he's in Dusty May, welcome to the Western Conference. You just gave a guy that you know is sick to the team that literally couldn't get him, and they got him.
Yeah.
Nice going.
Did he not think OKC was that surprising to him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyone that's tapped into the NBA at all knew for a fact, OKC's just walking away from this draft with the Day Mara. We thought they were going to have to trade up to do it. But no, because Dusty May took Morez Johnson
and
9th.
That's what I'm saying, dude. We can sit here and be like, because I do think the Morez Johnson pick, I'm not saying it's the bad pick.
Let's be clear about something. I know I can speak for myself. You can speak for yourself, too, about I think Morez Johnson's going to be a really solid NBA
I think
player.
he's going to be
has
like
a lot of high upside.
For sure. Top 10 pick?
When Yax was on the board?
Top 10? And I could even get by the Yak stuff of okay, maybe you just think that the age stuff, Dusty obviously shouldn't, but I could see other teams being the age is just, I'd rather get a 19 or 20-year-old. I'd rather, sure, I could understand that. But the Mara part is just dude, the first guy to blame for OKC getting Ade Mara is Dusty May. It was right there for you, man. You could have picked him. Instead, it was Morez Johnson. Not saying it's going to be a bad pick. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, if we're all mad here about OKC getting Mara, who's to blame? It's Dusty May.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not like Milwaukee was going to take a big man. They're probably going highest upside. And as great as Mara is, he's not going to be a franchise player. The Warriors, Yaxel makes perfect sense for them. They probably felt like he slipped.
Makes a ton of sense. Yeah.
And then just like that, the Thunder are up. It kind of just comes down to Dallas. Why did you do that? If your goal was to be huge, because when they draft Morez Johnson, to me that clearly says, we want to be an enormous front court.
Sure, I understand that.
Okay, then take the 7'3" guy.
Yeah, and the Lively stuff is the part that maybe is the holdup. I don't even know if Derek Lively truly is the future big man of the Mavericks anyways.
No.
Especially with a new regime too, now that they have a new GM, new head coach. You have him in place there, so that could be a reason why saying, we don't need to draft a center, but it's for the same reasons why we aren't Okorie and the Danish Jenkins thing. You just don't think about that, especially when stuff is new going on. And so, it was surprising. There was a lot of buzz from Morez Johnson to get picked in the lottery, like in the leading up days to the draft, even before Dusty May took over as the Mavs head coach.
I'm not surprised all three guys were lottery picks at all.
Yeah. But like, where would Johnson have just gone 12 to OKC if he didn't go 9? Or would he maybe went later? I don't really know.
I mean, Charlotte could have taken him, just bring more size to them. Chicago could have taken them with their second pick. I think it could have been a number of teams. It does speak to Dusty, like even over a year ago, recognizing Morez Johnson as this kid from Illinois, where it's like, oh, this guy comes off the bench, doesn't really play, only really gets rebounds. And what he turned him into, a top 10 draft pick, and wanting to continue that development from him. Like, Dusty clearly over a year ago saw something that Morez Johnson could become. And I think he only scratched the surface of that in Dusty May's mind last year at Michigan. And he wants to see that process come all the way through.
Yeah.
To where, like,
yeah, true.
Dusty probably, and this is probably the right way of viewing it, Morez probably still has the most upside to unlock. That's still covered
100%.
up that we don't know what it is. Yaks, we know exactly what he's going to be. Mara, we can project what he's going to be. Best
he probably
case
has
scenario.
the most upside overall. But yeah, as far as saying like
uncovering something,
yes.
Morez still has that. So I guess in that sense, I don't blame Dusty for wanting to see this thing all the way through. And if he really thinks he can get the most out of him and turn him into whatever he thinks he can become, then I guess it does make sense.
Yeah.
Like in your mind, what is the best case scenario for Morez Johnson? Because I always said throughout the year, like, no, this is just like a taller and more physically gifted Isaiah Stewart. And I think throughout the tournament, it maybe got a little bit further along than that, where that may be the floor.
Yeah. I don't necessarily know. I'm not a huge fan of like comps, just because I think it's just players are different. They're like they just are different players. But yeah, I mean, just in general, if he could be like the starting four, like as a real elite role player, that's probably a great ceiling for him, right?
Yeah, just a lethal defender.
But a guy
guard
that's like
1 through 5.
a guy that will probably never make an all-star game, but we also can jointly recognize that he is one of the top role players in the NBA. Kind of like OG Anunoby. Not saying that he's going to be that player, but just how we all view OG Anunoby, where it's like, yeah, he's never going to be an all-star, but we all know how great he is.
Yeah, he's a winner. He's a winning player. And I think Morez is a little bit more gifted of a rebounder, like as an OG. He brings that element of a big. Defensively,
he just
more
is a big, like OG's a wing. That was just the comparison I'm making, just from how people view OG Anunoby.
Is OG the number one guy now, where it's just like,
yeah,
hey,
he's
who's a winner that's not an all-star? It's like, oh, it's OG Anunoby.
Probably. It was Derek White for a while. Now it's OG Anunoby.
You mean gold medalist Derek White?
Yeah, exactly, and that's why he was on the team. I think too with the Dusty like picking Morez Johnson thing. I mean, what better case does Dusty May have? Look what I did with this Morez Johnson kid. Like if he's going to the Mavs front office.
Yeah, for sure.
Look what I did with this kid in 1 year.
He probably showed up there to when they brought him in for an interview or whatever, and it was just like, hey, man, I'm not the GM, but I promise you what we can unlock with this Morez Johnson guy, I can get it out of him.
100%. And
he was a nobody a year ago, and now he's a top 10 pick. No thanks to Dusty May.
Yeah, and obviously you can make the same case about Ade Mara, too. Like he could have made the same case there because Mara ended up being like a whatever in year 2 at UCLA for how huge he was.
Even the first couple weeks, you and I picked it out fast, but like most people kind of just assume Mara was just, he's just super tall. Like he was always more than that. Always. It's almost unbelievable Mick Cronin couldn't get more out of him.
It is. It's very unbelievable, especially because Cronin, like, as much jokes we make, is actually like a good coach. And so the fact that he couldn't makes things really weird. But that is the thing for Dusty May now. I mean, he's now have 4 first-round picks in 2 years at Michigan, which is pretty unbelievable. And then at FAU, like had guys that ended up being big-time college players at other spots after they left FAU, including Vlad Golden. But also, that would, like, imagine the case that could have been for Dusty May if he stayed in college. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision, but, like, look at this. I turned these 3 transfers in 1 year, all the lottery picks. Top 12 picks in the draft. Come play for me at Michigan.
I also think, that's a good point.
Like,
and it also,
to turn that down is...
As a player, you mean?
No, to turn that down as a coach. You have the best case in the country to any player. Rather than like, hey, I'm Duke. This is Duke. You know, like other than that.
Yeah, come look at our hallways.
Yeah, like that doesn't matter. Like from an actual, like, hey, is your goal to win while you're here and then go to the next level? Boom. It was the John Calipari way, years and years ago at Memphis and Kentucky, just reincarnated with the transfer portal.
But to flip that, it's hard to pass up on attaching yourself to Cooper Flagg as well.
Oh, I don't disagree.
I think what Brian said earlier is pretty accurate. If he can be 80% of what we think he can be, he's a top 10 player in the NBA within the next 2 years.
He's probably a top 10 player in the league at the end of the year this year.
Cooper Flagg?
I think so.
At 20 years old, it could happen.
Maybe that's aggressive.
It's aggressive, but it should
15.
be. It's aggressive, but you should be aggressive with him because
look
he's
how good
going
he
to be
is. Yeah,
fantastic.
exactly.
It's one of the most sure things we've ever seen. So to attach yourself to him at the ripe age of 19 years old, you can't really blame Dusty May for going and doing that.
Or what if he goes full, I was the Michigan head coach, and he's like, you know what, guys? Morez Johnson is the superstar of this team. Sorry, Cooper Flagg. Sorry, Kyrie Irving, but Morez Johnson, he is going to get our most shots up.
It does feel like they're gearing up size-wise to keep Kyrie Irving around.
It would make sense, especially without them drafting a guard.
Yeah, keep him around.
Like, why not? Unless like someone is willing to give up a good amount, which I always thought that Minnesota was a team, excuse me, that was interested in him.
I just think
they brought back Ayo, so I don't think that will be.
I also think Kyrie's just got to be more valuable to Dallas than anyone else, because why would you be giving up like any real capital for a guy who's Kyrie's 35 now? 34, 35, 36 years old, somewhere in that range.
Mid-30s, yeah.
Who's coming off of a torn ACL, who's one of these 6'1" guys that usually don't play super long into their careers, because once you lose that burst as that small of a guy, you kind of just lose it. Why would anyone give up real capital for that? So if you're Dallas, you kind of just have to overvalue him because he still has upside.
Yeah, he's still good. Like, he's still a really good player.
Not a lot of other people are going to be willing to swing that bat with him.
And the Pistons probably won't now either, since they got Okorie.
Right. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We'll take a trip around the league when we come back. We'll also pick a winner for our Loons tickets. You got another 30 seconds to text in Loons to 989-837-6125 here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Thanks for Garber Chevrolet for making Big Win Wednesday possible every single Wednesday. Midland Area Community Foundation, they're dedicated to strengthening our community through generosity and connection, supporting local nonprofits, scholarships, and projects that make Midland a better place to live, work, and play. That's the Midland Area Community Foundation.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on
Oh yeah.
by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, Kyle, give it up for Clark from Midland, who is our Big Win Wednesday winner, sending him Loons tickets for vouchers to any game this year. So appreciate you, Clark, for listening. Woo-hoo! Next Wednesday, we'll have another giveaway thanks to our friends over at Garber Chevrolet. All right, let's take a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
All right, so what the NFL has started doing is that top 100 NFL list that's voted on based on what the players turn in. Like, this is all voted on based on the players, who the top 100 guys are. And I think it's essentially, you know what I think it is? I think NFL Film or NFL.com or whoever's actually, like, putting this whole thing together and organizing it, I think their entire goal was just, what can we do to rage bait our fans here in June and July? Like, what can we do to just infuriate everyone? Let's put together the most ludicrous top 100 players in the NFL list that you can possibly imagine. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to ask the players to put it together so that nobody else can say anything. And it's just like, all right. And then, no, this won't make me mad. No, it certainly will make you mad.
Oh, yeah. I do buy that it is from the players, though.
No,
I
sure
believe
is.
that. I believe that it is the player. Because wasn't, like, McCaffrey number one a couple years, or Saquon Barkley was number one, right? Isn't that what it was?
Time out. This is the whole goal of Around the League. We're going to go through the top 10 from last year because they just started doing the list.
Oh.
We're going to go through the top 10 of last year and say whether or not we think this player will be higher or lower. And it's also just a way to evaluate
that's pretty good.
Who are the top 10 players in the NFL last year, according to the players. By the way, they're doing 2 players per hour for 2 hours every weekday right now. So they're releasing 2 players at 10 a.m. and then another 2 players at 11 every weekday going forward. Yeah, that seems like the proper way of doing it. So
Why
far,
not just do it like
10 at a time?
10 a day for 10 days? Because this doesn't need to last.
There's nothing going on, so they need to drag
This
it
is
out.
going to last 3 months.
I'd be fine with 5 players a day.
Yeah,
Just
give us a
drag it
good
out.
amount a day.
Cam Jordan is number 100. It's the legacy pick. Quentin Nelson at 99. This one's just nuts to me. Guess who
Wait, they
makes
do a legacy pick?
No. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Guess who makes his debut on this list? A top 100 player in the NFL, apparently.
You did tell me this one.
Bryce Young. All right, I'm already feeling
Bryce
enraged.
Young.
Ernest Jones, 97. Travis Etienne, somehow a top 100 player in the NFL as well. Oh, I'm sorry. Travis Achan,
Oh, that guy.
the New Orleans Saints running back. Sure. Yeah,
Top 100.
I'm already feeling a little enraged. I don't think I would be more enraged than the top 10. Here's where we got last year. Last year, the number 10 player in the NFL, according to the players, was Pat Surtain. Is he going to be higher or lower on this year's list?
Well, he's obviously going to be lower just because he was coming off of winning the Defensive Player of the Year. I would assume that he was probably the second or third highest rated defensive player.
He was the second highest rated defensive player. I think
He might still be the second highest rated defensive player. Probably won't be.
I think Will Anderson has passed him.
But he for sure is not going to be top 10. I don't even know if he'll be top 20. Certainly won't be top 15.
He went from 42 to 10. I think he'll bounce outside
He
of
should
the
still
top
be
15.
the best corner, though.
For sure.
No other corner had a year to top him, I don't think.
But I do think Will Anderson and potentially Hutchinson and maybe Micah Parsons could be ahead of him.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson was listed at number 9. He was 9 2 years in a row. This feels like the right spot for Justin Jefferson.
No,
because
he's fallen. He's for sure fallen. Think about the year he just had.
I know, but he had a bad year 2 years
We
ago.
know how this works, though.
In 2024, he only had 1,500 yards. Like, it's not like he...
How much
I
did
say
he,
only.
Yeah, they only 1,500 yards.
I think with Jefferson, it's one of those things where everyone, especially the guys that play in the league, just know he's so much better than his numbers suggest because of the quarterbacks that he's had.
For sure, but
everyone knows he's a top 2 wide receiver in the sport. I don't think he ends up falling that far. There's no way he's not a top 10 player in the league. So I don't think
he will not
falls.
be in the top 10.
I think
This
he's
is
still
all,
there.
This is all based off of last year. Like, it's not legacy trying to go into it. It's supposed to be on a year-by-year basis. Jefferson was not a top 10 player in the league last year. So I think he falls.
All right. Myles Garrett was number 8. He was 3 2 years ago and number 8 last year.
Yeah, he's going to be well closer to 3 than 8 this year.
I think so.
Way
He was
up.
a monster.
Top 5. He honestly could be.
He might be 1.
They might do something weird to make him number 1 because he broke the sack record. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable.
And I think every defensive player will appreciate that, who they have.
And I think even the offensive players will. And it's like when you're trying to think
quarterbacks
of,
will.
It's not like there was a quarterback season last year that you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
number 1 player, no doubt. So Garrett honestly might be the favorite to be number 1.
Derrick Henry was 7.
Ooh.
He probably falls
Yeah,
outside of
that's
the top
quite
10.
a fall.
And he had a great year last year,
Yeah, quite a fall. Quite a fall.
but he'll fall. Joe Burrow was number 6.
Ugh.
Yeah.
See,
Goodbye.
now, I forget
Can't
how
play
this
8
works.
games and
Yeah.
not be in the top 10.
Do they
Goodbye.
even rank him? He like doesn't even make it, right? I always forget how this works with the injuries because like Hutchinson didn't make it last year, right?
I don't
Or
think
did
so.
he? I don't even remember.
Did he?
He won't.
Did
be
he
on the
didn't make
list.
it.
Yeah.
I would say Joe Burrow's outside of the top 15.
Yeah, I agree. Probably outside of the top 20 if we're doing the injury thing.
I mean, 2 years ago he was 33.
Yeah. And that was coming off. Okay, yeah. So if they do rank the injured guys then, yeah, he's outside the top 20.
Mahomes came in at 5 last year. I mean, there's no way he's not in the top 10. He might fall further than this.
He's falling, though, right? Like, I don't think he's top 5. He's injured. I mean, he was injured last year. And it seems like there is an injury tax with this ranking. But he does fall, right?
I don't know if it's outside of the top 10, though, but it's
Back half of it.
we're saying a lot of players are falling out of the
Sure,
top 10.
yeah, we gotta think of
who
who's
are the
jumping
guys
in.
that are jumping
It's a
in.
good point.
Let's do that at the end. The number 4 player last year was Jamar Chase. I think he's still probably a top 10 player in this, right?
I think so.
Although I do think if
I don't
all
think
these
he's number
guys are
4,
falling
though.
out, there is a good amount of receivers that are going to be coming in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, like, we all know the obvious one. There's a couple
Obvious,
of them.
too.
I think Chase is still high, but I don't think he's as high as 4. So I would say he slightly falls, too.
I think there's 2 wide receivers that will be ahead of both of them
Yes.
who are not in the top 10 of last year.
Yeah. I mean, Puka and JSN, we can just say it. We don't no need to dance around it.
Josh Allen was listed as 3.
He might stay at 3 or go up to 2. He'll probably be the highest rated quarterback, right?
Are we sure it's not Matt?
It could be
Or
Matt.
Drake?
It could be Drake.
I think if anything, it'd be Matt.
Yeah. I mean, that would make sense.
Lamar was number 2. That's going to be a fall.
That's going to be
He
a
was-
fall.
Not only was he injured last year, when he was healthy, he was not good.
Wasn't number 2 Lamar, that's for sure.
And the number 1 player in the NFL last season was Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, that's
who I don't think will be
unbelievable.
in the top 10 this year.
Okay, so if the ranking was doing it like that, is Sam Darnold about to be number 1?
No.
But JSN, they about to put JSN number 1?
I think the favorite to be number 1 should be Myles Garrett.
I think I agree.
I think the favorite to be 2 should be Puka or JSN.
I think JSN will be top 3 because he won the Super Bowl, Offensive Player of the Year, best player on the team that won the Super Bowl, and like this ranking had Saquon number 1 off of winning a Super Bowl. You know, so like clearly they have some favoritism to that.
I think Bijan and CMC probably should continue to rise. Like, he wasn't on this list, but if there's going to be a running back, it probably
Yeah.
should be him based on the season he had last
Probably.
year.
Gibbs will be in the same range.
Can I make a prediction for next year when we're doing this in 2027? Gibbs is number 1.
All right.
We had a lot of guys that we think are going to fall outside the top 10.
but like we said, Matt Stafford, Drake May,
JSN,
Puka, all will be top 10 and maybe some of them top 5.
I think there's a chance Will Anderson sneaks in.
Could be.
How many Lions do we think? Because this is where, like, you know how everyone, the Rams have got the deep boy and the MVP on their team. There's a very good chance. I guess Branch and Kirby probably don't make it. But still, even with those guys not making it, there's a chance the Lions have more players than anybody. Sam Laporta, who also had the injury.
Seattle,
Gibbs.
though?
Yes, it might be Seattle, but I'm saying the Lions could be like a team with the third most, second most for, because you're going to have Laporta, I think. You're going to have Sewell, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra.
You think Laporta
J-Mo.
makes it
I would hope so.
off the injury?
I would think so.
Missed the back half of the year? Okay.
Well, if not, J-Mo's for sure making it. Gibbs, I don't know if I already said him. Jack Campbell will be on there. Hutchinson will be
yep.
on there. Like, they're going to have 6 guys minimum, I think. And then you get into the, well, does Laporta make it? Does
6.5 is the line then?
Well, hold on. It would be Amon-Ra, J-Mo, Jared Goff, Sewell,
Gibbs,
Jack Campbell, Hutchinson.
7.
I think the over
right?
under is 6.5, and I'm smashing the over. I think it probably have to be 7.5
because those guys are all probably locks.
And then you have Laporta,
Branch,
Kirby, which Kirby's just for sure not going to make
Kirby
it. Right?
for sure not. Branch maybe. Laporta probably the best case, but all were injured. So
like probably 7 guys,
yeah,
7 or 8
it probably
guys.
just is going to be those 7 guys.
How many other teams can say that they're going to have 7 guys on this? That's a thing about the Lions, guys. Just got to stay healthy. 989-837-6125. That's around the league. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Thanks for listening. If you're looking to move, you got to meet Matt Smith of Modern Realty, redefining real estate with a fresh, modern approach. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, Matt Smith delivers personalized service tailored to you. Cutting-edge marketing, local expertise, and a commitment to making your real estate experience as smooth and successful as possible. From cozy starter homes to luxury properties, they know how to find you the perfect fit. Trust the team that combines innovation with real-world know-how. That's Matt Smith, Modern Realty.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. On 100.9 The Mid.
So who is the biggest winner and loser of the draft off rip to you, Kyle? We got DeBansa going to Washington. Maybe it's just is it just DeBansa? Oh, sorry, bro, you got to go to Washington. No, they actually have a halfway decent core set up for them. Peterson going to Utah. Boozer going to Memphis. Is it a team? Is it a GM? Is it Dusty May? Is it a player going to a certain destination? Who do you think is the biggest loser and winner of this year's draft?
Well, it's tough because there was a great opportunity for Michigan to be the biggest winner of the NBA draft.
I think they still might be.
Except the fact that they lost their head coach.
Oh.
You know, if that part didn't happen, then I would say Michigan is the big winner of the NBA draft. They're not. So I will say, first off, like, Washington or the whole Darren Peterson situation where Utah gets him second when he didn't work out for them. Very similar to Ace Bailey last year. Ace Bailey didn't work out for Utah. They were like, we don't care. We're just going to take him anyways.
There may have been a secret workout over the past couple of days, though, with Utah.
Is that what you're hearing?
That's what Bill Simmons said.
Oh, all right.
It's like I'm only working out with Washington, and then it was like, hey man, I think we actually are going to, but to save you in the embarrassment, we'll bring you in undercover.
I just think that it's funny that this has happened back-to-back years now for Utah, and all of a sudden, like, I think Utah is the biggest winner of the draft to me because they got a number 1 overall pick, like a true would have been the first pick in a lot of classes, probably not last year's with Cooper Flagg, but a true like elite guard prospect with the 2nd overall pick. And we've been doing all this talk about Lowry Markkanen, what would the Pistons have to trade to give him up, blah, blah, blah. Man, their lineup is kind of sick. If Walker Kessler figures out his whole situation with being, I don't know, he's upset about something, I don't really know. He wants a new contract, he wants traded, whatever it is. their lineup of potentially, if it's George staying at the guard, Kente George, Peterson, Markkanen, Jaren, Kessler, that's like kind of an awesome lineup if Peterson is instantly like a true franchise lead guard, which I do think he's going to be.
I think that's a good pick then. That's a good pick for the biggest winner. I think there's some red flags with Peterson, and I've made that pretty clear. So I think I would have been a little bit hesitant to pick him. If I was Utah there, I'd probably go with Caleb Wilson, even though there's a weird fit with Triple J and how that works. But I think you just go best player available there. And in my mind, that was Caleb Wilson. Even though Peterson, the high school stuff is just, yeah, it's really good. He was just better than Debanza when they shared the floor.
I also, too, like, the Brooklyn Nets don't love what they did in the draft because, one...
Oh, really?
One, well, I'm not saying I dislike Michael Brown Jr., but you want to talk about a guy that had the off-the-court stuff go on and just didn't get talked about? It was Michael Brown Jr. Like, it was just like the Darren Peterson stuff. Peterson was just a way bigger name that he was talked about a ton. Peterson just played the whole second half of the year. Like, this was just a blown out of proportion first half thing, the creatine stuff, whatever. Michael Brown Jr., like, could have came back from injury in that tournament game from what everyone has said and just didn't. Just didn't play against Michigan State or in round of 64 to probably preserve himself for the NBA draft. But there was a lot of stuff going on there. Also, of course, they traded for Julius Randle just because, I guess, to get the 28th pick in the draft. Is that worth it to get Julius Randle for that? Maybe. I don't know. I just didn't love overall the Nets strategy, especially because I do really like Acuff. It's biased Detroit kid. He's really fun to watch. He's fun to root for. And I think him going to Sacramento is like a really good spot because it's good. It's a good situation for him to go in and be like, hey, this could be my team, quote unquote. Now, it's Sacramento, so that sucks for him. But just from that perspective of like, oh, this can be my like squad as a rookie. They have the old guys still, but they're gonna phase those guys out.
Can I give you a loser?
Yeah.
The Milwaukee Bucks, who with their Miami Heat pick took Nate Ament, who's like the 6'9" guy who can't gets knocked off balance at always, like can't shoot really, is listed as a guard, can't stay on balance.
Yeah. Nate Ament last year at Tennessee was just like the most frustrating guy like for Tennessee fans because he was this elite high school prospect and just he was just so underwhelming as a freshman. A lot of people said he probably should have came back to school. He still went in the lottery, so shout out to him. But
shout out Milwaukee for restarting the Giannis trade, restarting the post Giannis era with a guy who everyone was just consensusly out on because he disappointed last year. I do unfortunately think the biggest winner. This shouldn't be a shocker because they come out as the winner of basically every single draft in every move that they make. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder, who walk away with two of the best college players that we have.
Is Wembanyama a loser?
Wemby can be a loser, yeah. The Oklahoma City Thunder just got a 7'3" guy.
Like, hey, congrats, you beat the Thunder this year in the Western Conference Finals. You probably just won't next year.
They got an agile 7'3" guy who hustles his butt up and down the floor just like Wemby does. Maybe even better.
Yeah, they just, once again are going to work their way around this stupid cap that prevents the Thunder from keeping all of their guys that they drafted and developed.
Oh, and
because they're doing it again.
Awesome backup guards behind Shea between McCain, AJ Mitchell, and Sturts
and now Sturts, yeah.
And one of those guys can get traded for something else that they like. It's like, oh.
They might not even have to trade him.
Awesome. Really cool.
Their move is probably just getting off of Hartenstein, right? And then just, boom, there you go. Run it back next year.
Yeah, with more cap space to work with, too.
Yeah.
The Clippers have to be a loser, too, for taking Keaton Wagler. I don't understand that one. I don't get
Garland,
it at all.
Yeah.
Great college player. I don't know if I see it in the NBA. All right, 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. 11 o'clock hour. When we come back, the Pistons and their draft selection, and Ebuka Okorie. What do we think of him? That's when we come back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
All right, welcome back in. Pistons' newest edition, Ebuka, Okorie. You know, the very first thing you should probably know about him, more than his actual profile and what he does well, is the fact that he is 6'1". That is something that shouldn't just be glossed over. Like, it's almost like you have to lead with that. It's not an asterisk to anything that he does. It doesn't take away from his accomplishments from college and what he can be in the NBA. But before you even jump into what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, how he fits with the Pistons, it's just the most like, hey, let's get it out of the way. Here's the headline. The Pistons drafted a 6'1" guy. Am I wrong for saying that? Or do you think that this is like kind of not the major takeaway with what he can become, but you almost have to get out in front of it and say it before anything else, before you're allowed to get into the other stuff. I think you do have to bring up, hey, just so everyone knows, we are talking about a 6'1" guy.
6'1" guy, the same height as the Finals MVP.
6'1" guy, yeah, same height as the Finals MVP, who is one of the most special offensive players we've seen in years in the NBA. You have to be special on offense.
6'1", the same height as this, the best player in our favorite team's franchise history.
Yeah, that was also
that
40 years ago.
But they're the same height.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
40 years ago, much different sport now.
For sure.
You have to be a pretty special offensive player to last in the NBA if you're going to be 6'1". Can he be a special scorer? Perhaps. There's plenty of guys in the NBA that it has worked out for. But it does have to be put out there before anything else. Now we can jump into all the things that he can bring to the table. This guy was a certified bucket in college. Was 6th in scoring nationally, led the ACC in scoring with 23 points a game, 3rd most points per game for a freshman. The other two guys and the guys like ranked right below him. All the guys that went in the top 5. It's AJ DeBanza, it's Darren Peterson, it's Caleb Wilson, it's Darius Acuff. These were your top scorers in addition to Ebuka Okorie. So this guy is a certified bucket getter. He's going to be able. Now the 3-point percentage won't overwhelm you. You turn on the tape, though, and he does look like a little bit, to a lesser degree, a Kyrie Irving. He looks like a Kemba Walker, I think is what really comes to mind. These little guys that just get buckets and are able to create space for themselves and draw attention and bring guys out onto the perimeter and make them dance a little bit. The number one thing to kind of hang your hat on if you're him is this guy doesn't turn the ball over. And you look at the franchise player of this Detroit Pistons team, obviously that's something he has notoriously struggled with, not just in his tenure with the Pistons, but specifically in the playoffs, and it's been a detriment to this team. Now they bring in another ball handler, a guy they traded up to go get, nonetheless, with 3 second-round picks, to come in, and maybe this is part of it. Not only can he score buckets, but this is a guy who's going to take care of the ball. You watch some of it, just throw on his highlights for a couple minutes, and you'll see these handles are like these combo dribbles, the cross between the legs, go get to the rim. It's pretty unbelievable how tight of a handle he has. It's like he has the ball in a yo-yo, and he's not giving it up. Stanford last year, 11% turnover ratio when he was on the floor, jumped up to 20 as soon as he left, less than 2 a game. For a guy who had the ball in his hands that much and was scoring as much as he was and getting to the free throw line and attacking the rim as much as he was, like that is an incredible thing to hang your hat on, the fact that he was able to hang on to the ball as well as he did.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big part, just because the fact that all of his shots, basically 80% of them, were self-created. The fact that he doesn't turn it over, and it's not like he was this elite playmaker by any means, but that's not what his game was. You know, his game was scoring. And so the fact that he did turn it over as little as he did and got to the line, got in the paint as much, all of those things are very encouraging as far as him actually making an impact right away. You know, you made the point about Danish Jenkins being involved in stuff, and he's on a great contract for next year, like for sure going to be a part of this team, but I don't think that you have to have the backup point guard future in your mind when you're drafting in the first round, especially in a draft that you're trading up in and is pretty deep. Like you feel that Okorie, he's young. We talked about this before the show. Like he's a young 19. He's going to be 19 his entire rookie season. Yeah. So
he can break all of Cooper Flagg's records from last year.
He's not going to get his like next extension off his rookie deal until Yaxel Lendenberg is however old he is right now.
With a walking cane.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's the most encouraging part. Just about it's not like he has to come in this year and be amazing right away.
Maybe he'll grow. Maybe he'll grow a couple inches.
Somebody in our YouTube chat said that maybe he'll hit a growth spurt. He's only 19. Yeah, it's pretty funny. A fun part too, just about this draft, and we can get back to Okorie. Just looking at the draft, like actually taking a full grasp at it. Only 2 European players or 2 foreign players, like not playing in college basketball last year, get picked in the first round of the NBA draft. Remember that was everybody's
Mexico
big deal?
Guy?
Yeah, Kareem Lopez from Mexico. I believe he played in the Spanish league. And then Sergio de la Reyes, who is a Spanish player, also drafted in the first round. That's it. And if you look at the lottery, the top 13 picks, so almost the full lottery, you watch these guys play in the tournament. Caleb Wilson was injured, but his team was there.
We're back, dude.
All of these other guys were major contributors and stars of the tournament. For all the stuff that college basketball gets for being the NCAA sucks, no doubt about it, and has way too much stuff that's wrong with it. And even the stuff that's happening right now with Dusty May leaving Michigan in itself is just wrong. They got this part right. The guys are playing, the good players are in the tournament again, and they're being picked at the top of the draft.
I think the NBA also recognized, too, maybe bringing guys into the G League where nobody's going to watch them isn't the best thing for our top prospects. Maybe this overtime elite program where nobody's going to know these guys, and the only thing they're doing is focusing on basketball and not developing any sort of people skills and the ability to be coached and all this other stuff isn't good for these top prospects. No knock on Asar and Amen Thompson, but it's just the route that they took, and it's not good for the development of the sport in general. It worked out for those 2 guys, don't get me wrong. They also recognized all the European guys getting drafted and dominating right away. Well, college basketball was smart enough to go, well, maybe we should allow Europeans to come over and play our league before they get drafted and get a little taste of what American basketball is like. So, yeah, I'm totally with you. It's a good thing for the sport of basketball in general, not just the NBA, not just college, but the sport of basketball in general in this country, that college basketball is on the rise again in terms of, hey, all the best players in the draft that are going to the NBA, you get to see play in March Madness because that's where people are going to be watching. It's not going to be overtime elite. It's not going to be G League. It's not going to be European ball. You're just not going to get eyeballs on them.
The stars of the team that won the title, they all go in the lottery. You know, how cool is that? It's a great correlation between the college and the NBA that worked out great there, which is exciting.
And there's no reason to think that's fading away anytime soon either.
Exactly. It's just especially with all the new stuff that's going on in college. But going back to the Pistons, what is next for them now that they did make this pick? Because you've brought up the Norman Powell thing.
Yeah, you said you shouldn't be having Danis Jenkins in mind, a backup point guard, while you're making this draft selection. I totally agree with you there. It's not like you should be worried about Danis Jenkins when you make this selection. That doesn't change the fact that you now have 2 players with very similar archetypes, very similar skill sets.
Yeah, Danis pretty inefficient.
Inefficient 2-point scorer, couldn't make a 3 in the playoffs. You still have 2 little guys on your team now, right? That's just, you do.
Wait, we got 3, dude. Marcus Sasser still exists.
You're right. And if you're going to go get Norm Powell, you all of a sudden have 3 little guys on your team. Something's got to give there, you know? Something doesn't really add
And the
up.
Norm Powell stuff does seem legit. It came from Mark Stein yesterday that there's legitimate interest from we've seen the interest thing a lot. I think you could say that about any player. Everyone they probably had interest in having Giannis on their team too, but they're not going to entertain it. So the Norm Powell stuff though would be I don't know how this would go down because I just don't know what Okorie's role is next year.
I think
young.
That depends on how free agency goes.
He's not going to play a ton, right? I don't know.
No, I don't think there's really a scenario for him to start this upcoming season.
No.
He'd have to blow
Not
us
at all.
out of the water if he was wanting to get into the starting lineup. I don't know if that's going to happen, but as of right now, we don't necessarily know who that 2 guard's going to be. I guess right now it's just still Duncan Robinson, but the odds of Duncan Robinson being on this team to start out next season, I'd say are 50-50.
Yeah, and as much as because I've seen this take they've gotten the guy that the buckets getter guy, they got the shot creator guy in the draft. Now they can go elsewhere in free agency. Okay, we're not throwing all of that on a 19-year-old rookie that was picked 17th overall. We're not saying, oh, boom,
problem solved. They
shot
got their bench
creation,
score.
we've got it. No, they obviously still have to address that in multiple other ways. Norm Powell and him together, it is an extreme. Norm Powell is extremely small and truly is he's at 6'4" is generous.
That's a generous 6'4". That was pre you had to take your shoes off measurement.
6'4" is generous, and he truly is a hole defensively. So
That's the nice thing about Okorie. The 6'8" wingspan makes up for it a little bit, even though it's still someone you can hunt. But I bet you he can surprise some people by, being in the help and just reaching his arms out and getting a couple steals.
Gary
That's
says
a nice part.
Allen Iverson was 5'11".
Again, a truly special offensive player.
It's a good point.
Like everyone that we've named that is a small guard is a truly special offensive player. That's kind of the only way it could be to
makes
last.
full court shots. That's special.
It's weird though because it is. He has
is
like
special.
this uncanny ability to hit half court and full court shots. Yeah, that's what's going to have to happen. Like, there's not a lot of wiggle room for what he has to be in order to stick around in the NBA. Like, I'm telling you right now what he has to be to stick around. He has to be someone who can go get buckets at a very efficient rate, at a deadly, in a deadly way, where no one can really stay in front of him because of how quick he is. Now, I don't see him as like this floor general the way that Brunson is, where he can kind of get anywhere on the floor, get guys off balance, go around guy. Like Brunson's a floor general to me. This guy seems more like, no, I'm just constantly trying to get myself a little bit of space to get a shot off.
Yeah, I mean, the way they play is just extremely different. Brunson they get in the paint, so I guess like that is similar as well. But
Brunson's not that quick though. I see a lot of
Brunson's not. He's all
this guy's
finesse.
first step
he's
is
footwork and finesse. Like
and
this guy's combo moves and combo dribbles is how he gets open and how he scores. Like that is how he gets his buckets.
That's the most. If you just want to throw on his highlights for 5-10 minutes, the most impressive part is
it's fun.
The between the legs, crossover. All of a sudden, I'm already past you. Yeah, tween cross. I'm already past you, dude. Like it is on a tightrope the way that he dribbles this basketball. A 1.9 turnovers per game. Guy that had the ball in his hands that much to only turn the ball over 1.9 times. I mean, it's what the Pistons need.
It's exactly what they need. Like that's the most encouraging part. It's not just the fact that he's a scorer. It's the fact that he was an efficient one and the way that he got it done. Like I see people throwing around, he's only 35% from deep, like on a pretty good amount of attempts. I don't know. You see the shots that he takes? Like watch him.
That's the thing
They're
with
tough
Phylon.
threes, man.
Phylon was 40% on 6 attempts. Cam Carr was
watch
37%.
Alabama play, though.
I know it's just different.
Yeah, it's a much different style of basketball. Phylon gets open threes. I'm not saying that he is a worse shooter than Okorie is, but
yeah, I would love to know Okorie's catch and shoot percentage
and how many of them he took, because most all of his shots came off the dribble. If a guy shoots 40% off the dribble threes, okay, he's the best shooter we've ever seen in college. Then
it's again, if he was 6'4", he'd be exactly what the Pistons need. He'd also probably be a top. And he'd be right in the conversation. He'd be right in the conversation with.
He'd be with all those other guards. Yeah,
with
he'd be
Acuff.
with Flemings and Acuff and Brown, all those guys.
Yeah, like because how tall is Acuff? 6'3", maybe.
Yeah, like 6'3".
Yeah, he'd be that, which was a top 7 pick. So there's pros and cons with it. There's a lot of pros. There's one overwhelming con, and that's the fact that he's 6'1".
Doing the Adam Silver bit, though. I mean, he's a tall commissioner, man. Like, come on, dude.
It's
Cut
just
him some slack.
It's not a good sight to the eyeball when he goes up and takes a picture with the commish, and Adam Silver's taller than him. That's just usually not a good sign. I don't like it when that happens. He went up there and shook his hand. I was like, oh no, this is awful. And then I've talked myself into it a little bit more as 12 hours have progressed. I like the player. There's just an overwhelmingly dark cloud over his
And when
head.
are we ever going to fix the fact that this guy has to wear the OKC hat when he goes up on stage? Like, when are we ever going to fix that?
Probably never.
It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, so all the photos are just ruined.
It's all ruined.
Hey, AI, make this a Pistons hat. All right, 989-837-6125. 11 o'clock hour, as always, is presented by Yiter Insurance. Life happens fast. And at Yiter Insurance Group, they're here to make sure you're covered every step of the way, locally owned and trusted in Midland for decades. That they treat you like family, not just another policy number. From home and auto to business and life insurance, Yiter is the right coverage for every stage of life. Their team makes insurance simple with expert advice and real people you can actually talk to. That's Yiter Insurance Group. We'll be there when you need us since 1940.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building.
What a big day what a big 48 hours for the Wolverines, where it's like, hey, guess what? We're uprooting your entire college basketball team starting with your head coach. I guess nobody else is left, but the entire identity of your program gone. Goes to the NBA. Then drafts his own player in Morez Johnson, who I think it's really interesting with Morez because clearly 1 year ago, Morez Johnson was an absolute nobody other than a guy who came in off the bench and got a lot of rebounds. Dusty May saw something in him and said, I think we can unlock it. Made him become a top 10 overall pick in the NBA in just one season with him, and then drafted him again, doubling down, essentially telling us once again, I don't even think we've scratched the surface as to what he can become. I've got this vision. I've had it for over a year when I saw him playing off the bench in Illinois. I think he can become XYZ. Maybe he thinks we haven't even scratched the surface of what that is, which is kind of a scary thought. So you've got the controversy of Dusty May drafting his own guy, plus Morez Johnson going before Yaxel Lenderberg and before Ade Mara being the first guy taking up the Michigan bunch when he was clearly the third best guy on that team. You've got the fun storyline of Yaxel Lenderberg going to Golden State, a team that desperately needed a player to help them win now, which Yax, of course, does with the age that he brings and the experience that he brings to the table. So Yax and Golden State, that's just fun in general. I think he fits in well. They want to move the ball. Got to have a high IQ to play with them. Got to be able to move the ball. Like, they don't play iso ball. That's never what Yax was about. Yax was about ball movement, moving off the ball, connecting everybody. That's exactly the perfect fit for Golden State. Also, it's just hilarious that within 2 hours of being drafted says, I used to hate Steph Curry because I was a Kyrie guy. Just classic Yaxel Lenderberg stuff. Man. And then we have Ade Mara going to Oklahoma City. You know, the team it's going to have battles with Wemby over and over again, just picks up the 7'3" giant with quick feet, runs up and down the floor, really well conditioned. The minutes were a little bit down per game at Michigan for what you'd like, but in those minutes that he played, man, he hustled up and down the floor. So of those three storylines with those three Michigan players, which one of them is the most fun to you to follow going into the league or going into the new year?
I mean, the fact that, like,
I think you can make a case for all of them.
The three storylines of the three different players, like the three different teams.
I think you can make a case for all three of them being the most interesting.
You could, but, like, how could it not be the one that involves their coach? You know, like, the Mavericks just has two of the guys. You know, the Mavericks has Dusty May and Morez Johnson. And I think Morez Johnson is probably the least, like, the guy that I would want to follow the least, right? Yaxel Lenderberg, we just mentioned it. The guy has been on the Warriors for 8 hours and has already said, yeah, I hate Steph Curry. And Draymond Green, I hate the school he went to. Like, this guy he's going to be a meme all year long. It's going to be hilarious to see what this guy does. So that's a great story in itself. But the fact that the Mavericks have Dusty May as their head coach, I'm picking that. I mean, obviously, Cooper Flagg, everything else that's involved with it. But it's honestly more about Dusty May than it's even about Morez Johnson. It's just the fact that he picked Morez Johnson on top of it makes it even better. And he took him first. Like, I just can't really get over this. He took him first out of the three Michigan guys. I never would have guessed that.
I think I'd go with Ade Mara. I think Ade Mara being on Oklahoma City, and now they have the 90% of, I don't even, they have some other sort of alien on their team, you know? They've got an astronaut on their team, maybe not an alien, but they've got someone that is somewhat resemblance of what an alien should look like. That being a total wild card X factor for a team that was the 1 seed this year, that to me has become the most interesting part. Because now I think it's pretty clear they're going to move off of Hartenstein, clear up some cap space, and just like that, they bring in their new center, their quote-unquote Wemby stopper. That's probably the most interesting pick to me, because he'll be on the best team for sure.
Gary does make a good point in our YouTube chat here. He says, it'll be interesting to see how Mara handles the foul trouble in the NBA. Players are quicker and just plain better. It's a good point. I mean, that was, of course, an issue of his. It's an issue of a lot of bigs, but especially a shot-blocking big like Ade Mara is. So that is a good point. Like, we are kind of just writing it in that.
But Mara was so good at, like, understanding his size and just kind of standing there straight up with his arms up rather than reaching down. He was so good at that, even though he got into foul trouble a couple times.
Yeah.
I got a quote from Ebuka Okorie, if you want it.
From who?
Ebuka Okorie. Ebuka. Ebuka.
Yep. Ebuka.
Ebuka
no M
Okorie.
in there.
I feel like alongside Kate, I'll be another playmaker on the floor, another shot creator, able to create a shot for myself and others. And on the defensive end, just bringing intensity using my physicality and getting in passing lanes. Sounds like a guy who is very much able to recognize, like, yeah, I'm not going to be the star of this team. I know that.
Yeah.
I just want to come play basketball, get hoops, get some other guys some looks, and win. More than anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think it really is worth noting. Like, this guy is going to be an extremely high IQ player. That's the exciting part about this. Like, the way that he played, typically when you just hear, oh, this guy is a shot creator, he takes a lot of off the dribble shots, he gets in the paint a ton. Like, you don't expect that guy to be like, you think of Tyler Hero, like the way you've talked about him. You know, like, oh, I'm going to take a lot of tough shots. He's not that way, though. Like, he's a highly intelligent player.
I think he's only that way last year because he had to be.
But exactly, like, for the style that he plays, he seems, from what I've seen, obviously it's not like it's a ton. From what I've seen, he seems incredibly intelligent on the basketball floor. And he went to Stanford, of all places. So, I mean, it's pretty.
Say he got into Harvard, too?
That's what Brad said. I honestly didn't know that. Maybe he was, like, going to go to Harvard, and then he switched to. He also went to Brewster Academy, which I'm pretty sure that was where DeBonsa went his junior year. So maybe he was high school teammates with DeBonsa. Could have been.
Oh, really?
Could have been.
Okay. That's something to look into for sure. I do think it makes Danis extremely expendable. I'm not really sure what Danis' role looks like going forward. It could be someone who gets moved this offseason. You probably have to go all in on getting a wing in free agency of some sort. It makes it really hard to go get Norm Powell now just because of the size aspect of it. I would still love for them to go get Trey Murphy, but you made a good point. Like, I don't know if that's possible because the 21st pick at the time was probably the most intriguing thing than just some random first-round pick. Although it's New Orleans, man. You never know. It's Troy Weaver. You can convince him of something.
They can do anything dumb.
All right, 989-837-6125. We'll hit the news when we come back and do our three traditions at the very end. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Dow, proudly rooted in Midland and making an impact all around the world. Innovations that create cleaner solutions for water, safer homes, more sustainable futures. Company built on science but driven by people with thousands of employees who call this community home. Supporting local schools, events, and nonprofits because being a good neighbor matters. From the lab to the Little League field, Dow is invested in the places we live, work, and play. Dow, solving with science and standing with community.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, 989-837-6125. Welcome back into the show. Kyle Sandel, it's your time to shine. Take it away with the news.
The Mets Morning Catch.
All right, we're back in the news. We've got a little bit of breaking news going on right now. Before we do that, though, it's nothing that important, by the way. Nothing like we had the other day. The community calendar presented by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. You got about 90 minutes left to go hit the farmer's market today on Wednesday here in the back of Dow Diamond. You can come check it out 7 to 1 Wednesdays here in downtown Midland. Okay. Austin Reeves just got paid by the LA Lakers 4-year, $185 million. About a $46 million a year average salary. We all know what we're immediately thinking after this, though, right?
Duran?
LeBron.
Oh.
LeBron, question mark. LeBron, what's going on? Obviously, like, we knew Reeves was probably going to get paid by the Lakers. I don't think that was ever going to actually happen. He didn't even hit free agency, which is interesting because I know there was, like, Brooklyn Nets rumors about Reeves pre-Julius Randle. But this is a pretty big, this is obviously a huge contract. This is actually Sham's saying right now, the richest contract for an undrafted player in NBA history.
Really? I mean, I guess that makes sense. There's not a lot of undrafted guys that make it the way that he has. My first thought was like, what's Duran going to get compared to this? Because I think Austin Reeves is just kind of a better player and more well-rounded, more polished right now than Duran. But Duran's got the All-NBA to his name. He's got the All-Star to his name. So my mind immediately went to like, what does Duran make if Austin Reeves? You said it was 4 years, 186. Is that what you said?
185, yep.
185. So what does Duran look like? Is it going to be 200? Because I think Austin Reeves is kind of just a better player than Jalen Duran. But I kind of feel like Jalen Duran's going to get more than that.
Like, does this just mean LeBron is just for sure not going back to the Lakers?
I mean, he could take less money.
Is this kind of the vibe that we're getting here? God, what's going to happen? I don't know, man.
I'm unsure.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on then. Other stuff going on in the news. NBA-wise, Portland has hired their next head coach. They hire assistant Micah Nori from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Nori has been a name that has been tossed around for the last couple of years. He finally does get a head coaching job in Portland, but this one comes with a caveat. Portland has been widely talked about if you're in NBA circles over the last couple of months with their new ownership that they are relatively cheap. They didn't fly the two-way players to the road games in the playoffs, which is just crazy. There was all the stuff at their home games, apparently, that was different. They waived a ton of, like, a crap ton of their staff, of just not even just on the basketball staff, but just team staff in general as soon as new ownership took over. They did not re-sign Thiago Splitter to be their head coach, even though he was an awesome interim for them. Instead, it's Micah Nori, and it's a one-year deal. A one-year deal for a head coach with 2 team options, or 2-year team options. Also, those options are less salary than this first initial year is. This is one of the more odd coach contracts you'll ever see, and it just adds to the cheap allegations of Portland's new owners.
Oh, boy. That's one that I've never heard. The sliding door salary on an NBA coach.
Yeah, Tom Dundon is the new owner.
It's pretty unreal. I'm just glad there's no owner like that in Detroit. We hate Chris Illich for being cheap, but this is like a different level of like, you get in, you're like, let's stop spending money in general.
Yeah. Remember when he said he would move the team to Kalamazoo?
No, I think that was just somebody. Was that him that said that?
That was him that said that, yeah.
Oh, my God. Poor Portland fans.
Yeah, really tough. But Micah Nori seems to be actually like a pretty good coach. Like, they might have nailed that hire, but just a weird way for it to go down. Hey, we haven't talked about the Tigers yet today. Their win streak came to an end yesterday. They lose 4-3 to the Yankees. Casey Mize picks up the loss. pitch into the 6th inning where Jazz Chisholm went deep, and the Yankees never looked back from that point. We had a debut, though, from Ben Malgiri, another Tigers making their debut. We had Ty Cruz last week. Now it's Malgiri. He has a pretty good debut. He gets 2 hits. That's nice. Tigers do lose, though. They're back in action for Game 3 today, and it's Skubal Bump Day. Tarek Skubal taking on another lefty, Ryan Weathers. 6:40 first pitch once again.
Anytime Scubal's on the mound, I'm excited to watch. So, yeah, hopefully he can follow it up with
Home
another
game,
great
too.
performance from the last time around. Had 8 Ks. I'm expecting them to do something very similar to the Yankees tonight.
I hope so. The Brendan Sorsby saga, I think, has finally ended, at least for now, at least for probably a year at this point, because the NFL announced yesterday they are not going to have a supplemental draft. They are canceling any sort of 2026 supplemental draft, a.k.a. Brendan Sorsby, you are not allowed to join the NFL this year, and that's just for now. It could be a permanent thing for them, but this is just their way of getting around banning him from joining the league this year. So he cannot go to the NFL. I don't think he can go back to college because he basically in Texas Tech got blackballed out of doing anything in football and maybe all sports if he did return. What's next for Brendan Sorsby? Hitting the CFL? Arena football?
Yeah, that
The
is what's
UFL?
next for him.
Yeah.
Guess what? Gambling on your own team has consequences to it. Shout out to Roger Goodell in the NFL for telling this guy to screw off for
They don't
a whole
play.
year.
They just don't mess around with this stuff.
It's good that they are denying him, and this basically means he'll never play in the NFL.
That's what I was just going to ask. Yes or no, does he ever play in the NFL?
No, if he wasn't going to the NFL this year, you can go play your college or your whatever, UFL, Canadian football, whatever it is. It's way tougher to make the league. I don't
Yeah.
think this guy will ever be a
What if
starter
he was
in the
awesome
NFL.
over there, though?
I know.
This could be one of the bigger what ifs, man. This could be just an extreme what if in the all-time thing of college sports because
But he did it to himself.
yeah, I mean, I agree. I know. I'm happy that the NFL made an example out of this because if this would have been fine and they would have let him in, this would have, one, it would have started a slippery slope of just like, okay, what else are we going to allow to happen? But two, like you bet on your own team, man. Like you can't allow guys to just get away with that. And so I'm happy that that's how that went. NCAA Division I cabinet did approve the 5-year age-based eligibility proposal from a couple weeks ago, probably a couple months ago at this point. It's happening, though. 5 years of eligibility over 5 seasons. It is official. Your eligibility clock will start upon initial full-time enrollment in college or at the beginning of the academic year following their 19th birthday, whichever occurs first. So this is just for some older people that have a year between high school and college, whatever it is. Nonetheless, though, 5 years of eligibility going forward from this point on. We should not have any 6, 7, 8-year college players happening anymore, which is what we've been wanting for a while, right?
Yeah, nothing's worse than like doing the intros to starters for like Saturday night's ABC game, and it's like, yep, this guy's a 7th-year player. He's had 2 brutal injuries. The NCAAs continue to grant him eligibility. He just loves playing football. He's 26 years old. It's like, oh, yeah, you shouldn't be playing college football anymore.
I feel for you for the injuries and everything, man. You're just not a college-aged
Student?
person. Yeah,
You're just not a college student anymore?
Let's just get this out of the way, man. It's unfortunate, but that's just how things work. A couple more things here in the news. We do have round 2 of the NBA draft tonight. It's at 8. Do you care?
Not enough to like watch every pick. No.
Yeah, I don't. I cannot believe they split this up into 2 nights. I guess it makes it so that I don't have to stay up super late if my team has a second round pick, but I've just never understood why they did this, making round 2 its own night. Round 2 of the NBA draft is basically pointless as far as watching it. So,
Yeah.
whatever.
And the Pistons don't even have a pick anymore.
Yeah, which is nice because that means I don't have to like lock in for it. And their second round pick last year was Chaz Lanier, who never really played. So Kyle Pitts has agreed to a 3-year, $54 million deal with the Atlanta Falcons. Oh, God, Ben. That makes me nervous for whatever Sam Laporta's potential contract could be.
Yeah.
$18 million a year for Kyle Pitts?
Yeah, that bumped the market up a pretty good amount. I don't know if it's, I mean, it's not going to be less than that. It could be the exact same amount. Laporta and his agent are probably going to ask for more than that. I guess it could be an 18 million per year contract because look, Laporta has dealt with injuries, which probably knocks his price down a couple $1 million on an AAV basis. Like, he has not been able to stay healthy, which has to matter in a lot of ways. And Kyle Pitts, I mean, he has stayed out there, so we'll see.
Last thing I want to do quickly, Brad Stevens said that Jaylen Brown is still a big part of the Celtics, but won't predict the future. This is, of course, pretty contradictory to both Shams and Brian Windhorst reporting yesterday that teams are aggressively calling Boston now after they offered him up in the Giannis trade about a Jaylen Brown move. What do you think? Yes or no? Does Jaylen Brown get traded before he's on a different team at the start of next season?
No. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
All right, 989-837-6125. We'll get to our three traditions when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100. on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, 989-837-6125. Welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show. We've got 3 traditions to close out each and every show that we do here. The first of which is our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Trying to remember what lock of the day was yesterday. It was Riley Green to have 2 hits, runs, RBIs, right?
Yes.
And he did that?
It did not hit.
Oh,
no,
man.
it was not even close. Yeah. No hits, no runs, no RBI for Riley Green. He got 0. So you're 1-1 this week.
He walked twice.
You did walk twice, yep. 1.04 units up in June, so you still have a little bit of flex room even if you don't hit today. 12.16 units down this year.
Yeah,
the Riley Green bet, by the way, is now it's lost 3 straight.
Oh, man.
It's lost 3 in a row.
That's not good. It's going to hit today, I bet, even though that's not our lock of the day. No, today the over-under on Skubal strikeouts is 6.5. That is an easy over for me anytime I see that number. So give me Tarek Skubal to strike out the Yankees 7 times today for a what was it pre-show? -125?
-128.
-128. It's already up to -138. So it's becoming more and more likely that he ends up getting these 7 strikeouts tonight. Yankees strike out a good amount. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. What do you think? Taylor fade.
I'll tail it. I like it. Can't really bet against Skubal, especially because he's probably not going to be on the team much longer, so you might as well tail it.
Yeah, Yankees right now are. I guess they don't. Oh wait, yeah, no, I had it flipped, reverse order. They strike out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th most in Major League Baseball. So a lot of swing and miss. They're going for the home runs, and in Comerica Park, it's kind of tough to hit them. So I got Skubal with 8 Ks as my lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Okay, second to last tradition, our game of the day. Let's make sure there's not any like World Cup games on today.
Well, there is, but
I mean like good ones. United States plays tomorrow.
Yep.
I am looking forward to that. I'll probably watch that. In terms of the scores today, the games today, we've got Bosnia versus Qatar. I'm good. Switzerland versus Canada. No, thank you. Haiti versus Morocco. Scotland versus Brazil. Man, there's a lot of games on today. Mexico and Czech. South America versus South Korea. Who's the better South? Yeah, none of these are pulling me in. So I guess I will be waiting until tomorrow to make a Team United States pick.
I mean, I think there's a pretty obvious pick here for you.
And they play Turkey. Is it the Skubal bump? Is that what you're thinking of? Is it the second round pick of the draft?
It's Tarek Skubal bump day against the Yankees, and they're in first.
And it's a night game, so it qualifies.
This is the game of the day. If you're not going to go World Cup, this is the game of the day.
Yeah. I'm not going to overthink it. I think you're right. The game of the day, the Detroit Tigers. Kyle, but Shohei Ohtani's on the mound tonight versus Joe Ryan.
Yeah, the Twins, though.
740.
Ryan and Ohtani is a pretty good matchup.
I think I got to stick with Skubal.
Yeah.
Tarek Skubal versus the New York Yankees at 640 with the Amazon Prime game, too.
Oh, that's right. I forget about that.
So it literally is the game of the day.
It is.
In Major League Baseball.
Nice.
I'll go with that. It's the Yankees and the Tigers at 640 as our game of the day.
Game of the day.
I got 2 words for you. Steve Nash and Chris Paul. Must-see TV.
Michigan fans, they have nothing to worry about.
Okay. Okay.
That one won't last very long. I just like that one.
I mean, it's crazy.
What about this one?
We might be chopped unks.
We're not chopped dunks yet, right?
We were talking about it. I mean, this guy's 19 years old in the draft. That's what I'm saying.
Speaking of chopped dunks, we got to guess what Colin Cowherd's going to open with.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Fox Sports Radio takes over our airwaves at noon. The Herd with Colin Cowherd. What will the open of his show be? Kyle, do you know the score? Are you able to fill us in?
Yeah, so I've got the score, but my proposal to you is that we haven't been on YouTube the last 2 days for this segment. We each for sure probably got it right, but I didn't check, and I didn't update the scoreboard, so I'm just keeping it what it was on Friday. Is that fair? Is that valid?
What, did you check and I was the one that scored?
I did not. I mean, I predicted Giannis trade on whatever day that was. I just 100% would have gotten a point that day. So
yeah, that's fair.
I'm kind of the one being nice here if we're doing it that way.
Okay, fine.
Yep. Okay, 61-61 is the score. We're tied, and it's your turn to go first, episode 265.
I'm going to go with OKC getting Mara in the draft. Look at that. They walk away winners. He skips over the top couple guys and goes right to OKC.
Really?
Look at what they've done. They got their Wemby stopper.
Wow. He's going to go with Ade Mara as a lead?
It's more about OKC than stopping Wemby than anything.
Okay. No way he does this Austin Reeves thing now, but it's going to be, I mean, it's Lakers. It's big Lakers news. This could be LeBron's gone. LeBron, where's he going to go? I could see it, but I'm not doing it because it's the NBA draft. It's got to be the draft.
You imagine LeBron and Dominican LeBron on the same team?
That'd be pretty sick. What if he does just talk about the Michigan guys and does a Dusty May thing? There's a world.
Could happen.
I'm just going to go pretty easy route here. I think he talks about A.J. DeBonsa, first overall pick, Washington. They didn't mess it up. Look at this guy. This is the right pick. Him, Trae Young, Anthony Davis. It's kind of a fun little thing they got going on over there. DeBonsa that's going to be my pick.
Okay.
Pretty obvious.
I like it, though. I think it's a good pick. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Good show. Good show, dude. We'll be back tomorrow for a Thursday show. Hopefully recapping a Scooble amazing start. Hopefully the Tigers get themselves back to 10 games under 500. We didn't really do any Tigers today, so I'm sure we'll be back in the Tigers groove tomorrow. So look forward to talking to you guys then. There'll be more draft. I'm sure we'll find out a little bit more about the Pistons' offseason plans. The rumor mill will continue to go wild. We'll have a whole bunch of stuff to go over. We missing something? Team USA plays tomorrow, too.
Yeah.
What time do they play tomorrow?
We're going to do a preview late, 10 p.m.
Oh, my God. Against Turkey?
Yeah.
You see that? They changed the pronunciation of Turkey in this tournament.
Are you saying it correctly?
I think so. But then again, I can't even say Ebuka Okorie correctly, so I guess I'm not sure.
You nailed it. You nailed it by the end of the show, though. That's all that matters.
They changed the spelling of Turkey. Have you noticed that? If you've seen the World Cup games, it's not even spelled
I-Y-E.
Yeah, Turkey. They're an enemy tomorrow. U.S. Soccer is going to play them. All right. Hopefully Scooble can get a bump day. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Like and subscribe there if you have not already. Exclusive video content on the TikTok and Instagram, and then Facebook, how you stay up to date on all the latest information. We'll have a bunch of stuff up about Ebuka Okorie throughout the course of the next 24 hours. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Subscribe on YouTube so you do not forget when we go live. We'll see you guys then. Have a good one.
The Ben Bosscher